Okay, I was watching the end of Dr. Sleep again the other day, and I remember there's that part at the end with that little girl, Abra, I think they call her in the movie, how, like, she picks up the thing that Danny Torrance has where he can trap ghosts in a box. This is a weird random thought, but I was just thinking, there's this embarrassment that crosses her face at the very end of the movie, just to give away that whole thing, where she walks over and she's like, oh, well, okay, there's this dead woman in the bathroom. I need to go just cage a spirit. And then she, like, closes the door, and that's how the movie ends. And I was just thinking, like, is that an acceptable term for using the bathroom? You know, like, would people take it that way? They're like, oh, I gotta go drop some people off by the pool. I gotta go cage the spirit.
Peter, what the hell is Dr. Sleep?
Is what? Dr. Sleep is the sequel to The Shining.
You mean a sequel to The Shining?
Did you really not know
that? Fuck? No, I didn't know that. Let me ask, when the hell did this happen?
A couple of years ago, Ewan McGregor plays Danny Torrance. He's great in it.
Wait, hold on.
It was a whole thing, Jacob. A whole thing. We're definitely going to do an episode about it, by the way. I was just mentioning it because I just saw it again the other day.
What? Was this like a box? So it wasn't like a. So this is like a theater movie?
Like a direct-to-video?
No! So this is like...
No, it was...
What the hell?
It's a real movie done by real people for real money.
I am like... You would... How did I not... There was even a point. How did I not know this?
Yeah, it was based off of the book. Stephen King did a poll, and he's like, hey, would you guys rather I write a sequel to The Shining or yet another Dark Tower series? And unfortunately, the Dark Tower series almost got enough votes, even though there should never be any more of those. So he was just like, all right, fine, I'll write a sequel to The Shining. And then he did, and he called it Dr. Sleep. And the rest, as they say, was history.
Rose the Hat? What the hell? What?
Yeah.
Jesus. Grandpa Flick? What the fuck are with the... Sorry. What is with... Crow Daddy?
Listen, there's a bunch of gypsy folk in the movie, and, like, it's problematic that they have them as the enemies, but, like, it means that all their names are crazy.
Peter, I'm sorry. This also, I'm surprised this is a thing. This also looks dumb as hell.
Yeah, no. So here's the thing. It should be, and it's not, a great movie, but it's not bad.
Okay, Peter, can we...
We'll have to, like I said, we'll have to review it.
Yeah, Peter, can we... I don't want to think about the fact there's a sequel to Shining. Can we... Let's just go. Let's go.
You know how a lot of podcasts will start with a nice little side thought. It's like when you come in on a newsroom, and the camera kind of pans in, and they're having like a quaint little conversation in the background, and then they turn and they're like, oh, hello there. I was trying to do one of those, except with Dr. Sleep. I didn't know that you didn't know about the existence of the movie. I just assumed you did.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess, thanks for filling my mind with that now.
Yeah. So I guess my little anecdote is totally lost on you and anyone in the audience who hasn't seen that movie yet.
Yeah. That feels weird. That was like a big thing, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Kinda. It wasn't very well received. It was kind of like, when you make a sequel to like Blade Runner or whatever, it's like people aren't going to like it no matter what. Because of expectations.
Well, yeah, I mean, God, can you imagine if they made a sequel to Blade Runner? Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Perish the thought.
Right. Peter.
I love 2049. I don't want to poop on that movie.
No, okay, Peter, please. I hate to be... Oh, this is weird, because I'm the one trying to get things back on track. We're going to talk about reader beware.
I haven't even gotten to that part yet, Jacob.
You're in for a creep. Is how that intro goes, right?
Yeah. Here, let me give it a shot. Greetings, boils and ghouls! Welcome to another thrilling episode! For those of you who don't know, this is Gorman on Gore, a spoiler-heavy horror film podcast where we delve into the nittiest of gritties. I am your host, Peter Gorman. With me once again is my indispensable co-host, Jacob. Jacob, we've already spoken, but where are you at?
In a vague state of denial. over the state of things. But I mean, otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm doing fine.
Jacob, did you ever read any EC comics?
Yes, but not growing up because I don't think those are.
Yeah, I think I accidentally read a prototype, like the very first edition of Tales from the Crypt, because it was included for free with some other comic book.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I later on sought them out actively as just sort of a. I mean, because they were legitimately controversial when they were released, so I was kind of like, I'll check them out. Let's see how bad it is. Turns out pretty tame, to be honest.
Yeah, it's more like, I don't know, it's more like the secret is that he's a vampire, or, he's an X. It doesn't have to be any specific thing.
Yeah, that's the where it's like it is. It's funny to think about what were like cultural controversies, like the culture war back then versus now, where like
Yeah.
I mean, like people reading like DMX lyrics in Congress or whatever, and then it's like, what if our kids are reading comics about ghouls and ghosts?
Yeah. Jacob, you brought it up, so now I have to invoke RIP DMX, who just died like yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't trying.
4/09/2021, which is right around when we're recording this crap. I have no idea when this is going to publish, but yeah, he just died, and you've just walked all over his grave.
What? No, I didn't. I thought it was funny that they were reading out his lyrics. I mean, he probably thought it was funny too. I'd laugh.
Yeah, well, maybe he did. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's true.
I'm just saying, like, it's just kind of funny because it's like, I mean, like, the culture war is always stupid. It's never not going to be stupid. Yeah. But it was especially asinine back in the Tales from the Crypt days because, yeah, it literally was just, what if kids read about ghouls and ghosts?
But if there's implied murder,
yeah, they're gonna learn about spooky things, and then it's like what and what's happening? Like, what is happening after that? Who cares?
Yeah, I remember in the first issue of Tales from the Crypt, the one I read, there was one where it was two guys who were hunting a vampire, and the vampire looked just like the one from Nosferatu. Like real emaciated and pale with like a pointy, angular face.
Yeah.
And so the more experienced guy kind of backs up, and then like this cowardly guy's out front. He's like, "Oh, the vampire's coming! Protect me from him!" And he's like, "Wait a minute, I gotta get this thing out of my bag." He's like, "Oh, the vampire's coming even closer! Please help me!" And he's like, "Wait, just wait a little bit longer." He's like, "Oh, now the vampire's grabbed my neck. He's going to bite me!" And then the other guy's like, "Oh, well, I'm actually also a vampire, so now we're both gonna eat you." And that's the end.
Yeah, I mean, that's also. It is funny that how many times the like creepy like stereotypical like ending of a Tales from the Crypt comic is completely nonsensical.
Yeah, it's just kind of like crappy Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean that's the thing. It's like it's funny. It is literally just kids horror. It is.
Yeah,
I would say in quality, it's like maybe a step up from like Goosebumps, if only because
bad things do happen instead of only kind of happen in that.
Yeah,
there are some consequences in Tales from the Crypt episodes and in the comics. And that's why we are talking about this tonight, because we're going to cover the very first Tales from the Crypt movie. I thought there was only 3. Are you?
Yeah.
We talked about this briefly earlier, that there's actually 5.
Yeah, hold on. Oh my god. Let's see. Or they're like Tales from the Crypt, like related to, because there's one Tales from the Crypt from 1972, which is a British movie.
Oh.
There's also The Vault of Horror, which was part of the whole EC Comics thing.
Yeah, they had a couple different titles that were similar. Yeah.
Yeah. After that, there was Demon Knight, Bordello of Blood, which we will not be doing ever. And then Ritual.
Hey, no, we might, but we will not be liking it. Yeah, because I didn't like it either.
No, I also just... How about listen to Dennis Miller? He's not funny.
Or Corey Feldman be like weird and incestuous.
I'm more okay with that. If we're being entirely honest.
From a critical standpoint, that part doesn't bother me as much.
I'm not saying it doesn't bother me. I'm saying Dennis Miller is so unfunny. He was on SNL.
Less offensive than Dennis Miller.
Yeah.
That's like his big movie too, you know? Like, I don't know. Did he ever do another one where he gets to talk that much? Well, he was in like Disclosure, but he didn't really say a whole lot in that one.
Let's see. What was he even in? Oh, okay. They made a Joe Dirt too?
Oh God.
I
think I vaguely remember that.
I'm finding out all sorts of stuff. Why is still these bad movies that keep Oh, okay. Film premiered on Crackle. Never mind. Yeah, that makes sense. Never mind.
So you were saying that, okay, so there were a couple prior films that, had invoked the name, but I was thinking you meant maybe some after the fact, like maybe they did a National Lampoon's thing where like they just put their name on a bunch of stuff.
Oh, no, yeah, it's not like a creep show thing where like just don't even bother after 2.
I hardly even bother with the first 2, to be honest. I actually think I like the second Creep Show better than the first one. A little controversial with a lot of the hardcore fans.
Yeah.
They want to see a dim-witted Stephen King grow fern on his testicles.
For Halloween, I showed...
Oh no, not those 2!
For Halloween, I showed my sister that movie, and she, I guess hadn't really... She knew who Stephen King was and like some of his like movies and books, but had never seen him before. So I was like a third of the way through that segment when it was like, that's Stephen King.
That's the perfect way to do it. Just drop it on him like a bomb.
Yeah,
that's Stephen King right there.
Because you wouldn't believe it.
Master of horror.
I mean, they just like I do like that whole segment, but it's a little embarrassing.
Yeah. Meteor shit.
Although I did, I rewatched it. That makes me sad that he didn't guest star in more movies like that, just because of how like god awful and abrasive his performance was.
Well, if you want, I can actually compile a list of all of the movies he's in, because he's actually in quite a lot of his own movies.
Is he?
I remember him. Yeah, he's a preacher at the grave in Pet Sematary.
Really?
He's a graveyard keeper in Sleepwalkers. That's one of his worst scenes, where he walks back and forth between a couple different characters, and he's like, I guard the thing at night. I don't want these kids coming in here. And like, no one wants to talk to him, and so they keep sending him to other people. Yeah, you need to go talk to the forensics guy.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking at his Wikipedia page. He was in Sons of Anarchy, too.
Wow.
Which is a very funny concept.
He was a truck driver in The Stand. I remember that.
I do remember that.
He was in It, too, recently, as the pawn shop guy who, like, makes Bill Denborough pay way too much money for his own goddamn bike. You son of a bitch!
Funny story, I did not see it, Chapter 2.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually like it, but a lot of people didn't. It got, shall we say, mixed reviews. So,
okay.
It's not for everybody, I guess. But yeah, Stephen King shows up.
Yeah.
Probably the last thing he's going to do before he dies.
Jesus.
If I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, it's like, he's not that... he's really not that old. I mean, 73. He's, like, pretty old. But, like...
No, he's pretty old. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe writers do tend to live a long time, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. He's sending that tourist energy out there.
So, we got something special for y'all tonight. From the literal middle of the 90s, in service to an then-aging HBO cable television series, emerges a surprisingly fun little horror film by the rather long name of Tales from the Crypt presents, Demon Night.
Yeah.
And there's dead silence all Jacob.
Yeah.
Universal Pictures is proud to present the motion picture directing debut of one of America's most talented and respected artists.
Cut! Cut, 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 cut! Oh, hello, kiddies. So glad you could join me. Your pal, the Cryptkeeper, has gone Hollywood in a big way. I'm directing my first feature film. Care for a little shriek preview? For my big screen premiere, I wanted lots of suspense. Uh-oh. Special effects. Sex. Violence. The kind of thing you could really sink your teeth into. Hi! Frights! Camera! Action! It's about are a chase through the ages, a race against time. The war between good and evil.
Come on out, everybody! It's time to play!
And the final battle between man...
I'm sorry.
...and demon.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I lied.
It stars Billy Zane from Dead Calm, William Sadler from Die Hard 2, and Jada Pinkett from Menace to Society. Ooh, I love those titles. And you'll love Demon Knight.
They're here! The demons are here!
And ladies, if you think Demon Knight is too gross and yucky...
Whoa!
Thank you!
I didn't look up the tagline this time because I wanted to guess one too.
Okay.
So I'm going to guess what it is before I look it up. So I'm going to guess, let's see, something dumb that the Cryptkeeper would say. Because I don't know, for those of you in the audience
Oh,
who have
wait,
never
wait,
seen
Peter.
Tales from the Crypt.
Peter, this is fun because
Yeah.
I know what the tagline is this time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
So
also,
yeah, the Cryptkeeper is full of puns. He's hammy as hammy can be. So it's going to be something hammy, with a terrible pun, and it's going to be stupid. It's probably not going to add anything to the conversation because his job as host is to say almost nothing. He just says some stuff like a carnival barker, and he's like, and here's the show, So it'll probably be like, let's see, I was going to say like funtastic, but no, you need a death quote in there.
yeah.
So
come on,
like,
Peter. You know how these go.
a veritable spooktacular. No, they'd never use veritable. That's way too big a word.
Yeah. Peter, you can do better than that.
A monster mash. No. Let's see. Frights camera action. That's what I would call it.
Oh my god, that's so much better. That's so much better than the tagline they use.
I think it's actually something he says in the movie.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, Peter, are you ready for the actual the tagline?
All right, hit me with it.
Ready for your dead time story?
Oh. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh god, I like yours better. That sucks.
Well, wait, dead time story. They're like, hey, this movie will put you to sleep.
I mean, yeah, I guess that is the implication there.
It's a gentle story to lull you off to beddy by.
Yeah.
Demon Knight. Wow, that is dreadful. Okay.
Yeah, god, yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. That tagline sucks. The movie is not that bad.
No, the movie has a lot of flaws. I'm going to say that right out of the gate. But I also love this movie. Well, okay, I'm going to say for personal reasons. There's that thing where you see a movie at a certain point in your life and it just hits you just perfectly at that point in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what this movie did for me. I was, a teenager. Oh man, I'm old. But yeah, in 1995 when this came out. And this movie is built for teenagers, despite the cursing, blood, and nudity.
No, what do you mean
It's
despite?
essentially a forbidden movie.
Yeah, what do you mean despite?
Well, what I mean is,
It's
it's hard to get it to teenagers, especially initially.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Once it's out in the ecosystem, I mean, it's perfect for kids. The immature positions, the two-dimensional characters, the blood, guts, and explosions, the ridiculous amount of toplessness.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was going to say.
It's
Listen.
just 14-year-old, just all over.
Yeah, like if anyone's like under 18 and watching, listen to this podcast, like go watch this movie. It's got some boobs in it.
Would they? Yeah, they would appreciate that. But I don't know if they would appreciate the aging special effects, which were questionable even when it came out.
Oh, I'm going to disagree.
No, I like it, but it's corny, at some points.
Some of it, but and some of it's pretty good, to be honest. I'll defend the special effects.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it, but no, I think those hold up.
So don't you just love an endless stream of corny puns from a hammy host?
Yes, it's the only thing that brings joy to my life.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a selling point in the show for Twilight. I keep almost saying Twilight Zone. For Tales from the Crypt. This is the 6th season of Tales from the Crypt. This is when the show was beginning to crap out. By season 7, they diverted all of production to the UK. They said it was to freshen things up, but I believe it was because they were running out of money and they just bought the rights to some crappy British show that never came out and just call it Tales from the Crypt.
Mm-hmm.
I can't prove that, but it's all British in the 7th season, and then it all just ends. So I wonder if they were doing the movies as a way of branching out a bit before it was too late, before the star had faded forever.
That is kind of the impression I get. 'Cause, I mean, like, there are some... I mean, Jada Pinkett's in the movie. Before, she was a thing.
Yeah, she still is a thing.
Well, no. I'm just saying that, like, the movie has... It feels like they were going for, like, some... Maybe not great star power, but, like, they were going for something.
Yeah, it's a bold movie. I actually think it's an effective movie. I think it was a great introduction.
Yeah.
Apparently they had written 2 other movies for Tales from the Crypt, both of which they found sufficiently unacceptable that they took this movie. This movie was not written to be a Tales from the Crypt movie. This was actually originally written, like, I forget what it was. I think maybe a couple of years before Tales from the Crypt even came out. And they just bought the rights to it.
I can kind of see that.
Which is funny. They're just like, well, this is pretty good, so we'll just use this.
It doesn't feel like a Tales from the Crypt story. So I
think in some ways it does. I think they jazz it up with enthusiasm in a way that feels very Tales from the Crypt. But I wonder if it was maybe it was more serious before they put their pass on it.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, the overall tone is not very Tales from the Crypt, to me, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, I don't know. It feels more like, I guess, more of a like traditional horror action thing, which is not really Tales from the Crypt. There's not a lot of, like...
I guess that's true.
Dark irony or whatever.
Well, regardless, I am so glad that they just lazily reused the intro sequence from the show for the film, because it never gets old to me. I just love it. Every time I see it, like, my heart just sings with joy. When that gate opens up for the first time, it's like,
it's cute. I like it.
There's a lot of ways you can watch Tales from the Crypt for free on YouTube, because apparently HBO doesn't care. But most of them have the beginning taken out. I hate that. I want to watch I watch the show more for the intro than for whatever the episode is. That's how much I love it.
Damn. All right.
In case you've never had the pleasure, it's a POV camera sweeping past an opening gate, which has like a cool dragon decal on it. And you go up the yard of a creepy old mansion, through the dusty halls and past old furniture. You go down the back stair into some deep, ornate, and medieval-looking stone masonry steps that lead to crypts. The camera zooms in on a propped-up coffin, and out pops the Cryptkeeper, shrieking with laughter. As a kid, this is gold, because every time he did that when I was like 8 or however old I was at the time, I actually had that apprehension. They're like, we're going to the coffin, but I don't want to because he's going to laugh in my face. It's great for kids.
That's very funny. I guess when I was younger, I did think the Cryptkeeper was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird to think about it.
It's a really effective, I don't know what you call it, a dummy or an automaton. That's a very intricate puppet they have for this thing.
Yeah.
I saw the credits after the fact. There was 5 puppeteers for the Cryptkeeper.
Oh, yeah. It's very elaborate. It's just one of those things where, like, he's very silly looking when you go and look back now. But I do
I don't know. I still think he stands up.
No. I mean, like, quality-wise, sure. I'm just saying that, like, he's very goofy looking despite him being creepy. You know what I mean? And it's...
I guess part of the problem, is that he's got human-sized hands, because they did the Swedish Chef thing where, like, 2 arms are underneath his dummy body and come up. So when he's talking, he's got these 2 hands that are like almost vertical, and they kind of wave stuff around. He's like, like, it makes him look really manic, like he's got really short arms.
Yeah.
But that's just how they had to do it. So Danny Elfman did the theme song. Apparently not content to have been famous for doing the Simpsons theme, the 1984 Batman, and a slew of the earlier Tim Burton films like Edward Scissorhands and Beetlejuice. Personally, I think the Tales from the Crypt theme song sounds a little bit like the beginning of the Simpsons theme song. They both kind of do this like da 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 thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
Only temporarily, they go different directions. The Tales from the Crypt theme is done on a harpsichord, and it has all the little spooky things in it.
Yeah, there are
so
some...
honestly, like...
There's some familiar notes there, I don't know.
But yeah, there's some real quality in just, I love when they get a real orchestra guy or a real theme guy to do a theme. That kind of thoughtfulness goes a long way and helps prop up a franchise that perhaps otherwise might not have deserved it, like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, exactly.
But that whole opening sequence is really beautifully done. Whoever orchestrated that, I mean, just like, chef's kiss, it's just perfect. The episodes themselves were often cheaply made and cornily acted. But in a way, as long as you bookshelf that with some good stuff at the beginning and the end, and you have a corny host who says some hammy stuff, that's just a license to print money.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting because I feel like if you're a Tales from the Crypt fan, you definitely remember the series being of a higher quality than the series actually was. Because of
well, there's I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes I think are really good, and then everything else is mediocre to bad after that.
Yeah, I mean, I have some positive memories about episodes what was the one you showed me about the guy who is handcuffed to the dead guy,
to a cop. Oh, I forget what that one's called, but yeah, it's got the guy from Twin Peaks in it.
Yeah,
or at least I think it's that guy. He's he's a crook that's on the run. He's attacked by a cop out in the desert. He kills the cop, but the cop manages to handcuff him first. And then right before he dies, he eats the key and then smugly smiles, which is just great. Come get it now.
I might be misremembering this. I feel like that was you specifically asked me over to watch that episode of Tales from the Crypt at one point.
Oh yeah, no, that is 100% my MO. I will just handpick good episodes of something I like, or at least notable ones. Be like, hey, this is worth a watch. Sure. And I'll just have it on in the background. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
It's a way of lying to people and be like, yeah, every episode is this good. No, it's not. It's totally not.
Yeah, that's a cruel joke to play on someone, is to show that episode and then be like, yeah, no, the entire series is hey, just as good.
Oh, whatever. I mean, it's kind of like,
if anything,
when you
it's an
play the best song.
Yeah.
When you play you play a good song from a band and you're like, oh wow, that sounds really good. I'm going to go buy that album. Album's crap.
Yeah.
Well, that was the one good song, Jacob.
No, yeah.
I was going to think of an analogy, but I can't think of one time that's happened to me musically.
No. And now, oh god, now I'm just we're getting into tangent territory. But now I'm just thinking about, I used to love, because you would show off episodes like that, but we would also that was when we would do the group Magic the Gathering games down there in your look. I'm going to be entirely honest. Frankly, very not very well kept room.
Sure.
A dungeon, to be honest.
Yeah. It is dungeon-like. I will freely admit that.
Those are good times, though.
So, yeah, where the hell are we?
We are at the intro.
That's right.
Yes.
We have the intro. I talked about the theme song. So then we cut to a bloody bed where a woman with an affected, sultry voice tells her apparent lover on the phone about how turned on she is to have brutally murdered her husband moments before. Mm-hmm. Immediately, we see that the film isn't going to waste time pulling punches. Let's just get right to it, folks. Sexy lady on the bed in black lingerie, talking about how much she loves murdering.
I will say also, this was the point where I also I checked the time on the movie and realized that it is a full-length movie. I thought it was a TV length.
Yes.
I thought it was a made-for-TV movie.
It is a short, normal length movie, but it is normal length.
Yeah. No. I would just say, I had that moment where I was like, oh, right, this is a movie.
A real movie. Yeah, they're going to waste time.
Yeah.
There's a pretty obvious redub of that poor woman's voice in her black undies. She has to be in this... She has to be in the sleazy opener scene, and she doesn't even get to have her own voice featured.
I mean...
I don't know. If you look at her speaking, it's pretty obvious. And I was just thinking how sad that must have been for that poor lady. She's just like, I need to get featured in a movie. I know this isn't a good role. I have to get my face out there. I mean, I think people will understand in my family. I mean, it's a role. I get to act and stuff. And then she probably went to the theater not knowing. And then it's some other woman's voice on her body. And it's just like, no! Why have you done this?
That's a really depressing narrative that I hadn't really considered, to be honest.
Unfortunately, that is something I am going to keep coming up with for horror films from like the 80s and 90s, where I occasionally sympathize with the women in these dreadful movies and what horror it must have been like just to get through it, you know?
Oh, no, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying I hadn't considered that might be a thing.
I hadn't considered that woman's feelings.
No! Jesus Christ, Peter. That's not what I'm saying. Wait, move on.
Yeah. Moving on. So she's melting her husband in the basement in a tub of lye, I think. I don't know what it is. It's real bubbly, and traditionally when you melt a corpse, it's lye that you use because it's easy to get, and it works pretty well. Not that I'm advising people on how to dispose of a body, but
take note.
It's a way to go.
People at home looking to dispose of bodies.
It's real smelly though, so you got to do it someplace where no one's around.
Mm-hmm. Lots of scented candles, basement, Go nuts. Your imagination's
Go nuts.
Sky's the limit.
It's weird that she's clever enough to melt the body, but she's not clever enough to clean up the crime scene. She's just laying around.
Maybe it's an erotic thrill to be in the crime scene.
I was thinking that's a possibility. And I was also thinking that she might be in her lingerie or her whatever, her undies, because maybe she was, in something else, but then she murdered her husband and she was in the middle of cleaning up. And then she's like, I just want to bask in this murder for a while.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be that's pretty cool. I like that. Let's go with that.
Sure.
Yeah. She's a total freak.
So she bathes herself at least. I mean, at least she cleans herself. I mean, that's important.
Yeah.
You got to clean yourself and then you clean the crime scene. Actually, maybe cleaning yourself is the last step? I don't know, whatever. For a hypothetical murder, I mean, yeah. So you might get evidence on yourself, but you don't want to spread it around while you're cleaning.
Yeah.
I don't know. You probably clean yourself a couple of times.
Hypothetically, audience, you are the last thing you should clean.
You should go like American Psycho. You want to put up plastic wrap over everything. Newspapers, you want to have absorbent stuff that'll catch the spray.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta catch the spray.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You can't just let it go willy-nilly over the covers like she does. That's so hard to get out.
Exactly. Also, frankly,
yeah.
If you're thinking, gas is the way to go. Well, it's expensive, but just saying.
What you mean, gas to incapacitate? Or are you talking about to blow up the house?
Oh, no. To kill.
Maybe making it look like an accident would be good.
Oh, no. To kill, because that shit,
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Make it look like a suicide.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking about. Shoot, there was a guy in World War II or whatever who would go into people's houses and gas them. He was a serial killer.
What?
Something,
I didn't know about that.
Or I don't think he was. No. Oh yeah, it was more messed up. He wasn't a serial killer. He would just go into people's houses and gas them, and they would be paralyzed. It was he was just checking to see what the gas would do to people. What the hell?
Jesus Christ! What? I've never heard that story.
Oh wait, really? Oh, God.
Holy hell!
The Mad Gasser of Mattoon.
Wow.
Yeah,
So he didn't kill them. He just knocked them out or something, right? Or make them so they can't.
Well, no, yeah. Because they were awake. He would just paralyze them with gas.
It's like Batman gas, that villains would use, where they just make you fall over for a minute.
Yeah. He would just go around doing that.
All right.
They never caught the guy.
Wow.
But
interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I was just thinking about it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Just thinking about gassing people.
No, I mean, I was when you get on the subject of murder, it's the options.
Okay, so up until this moment, the scene is shot as if there will be no actual nudity. And then suddenly, bam, the movie's no, we'll show you everything if we feel like it.
It's funny, because I didn't remember too much about this movie when rewatching it. And I made a note that it was funny to me that the beginning of the movie has more nudity and, frankly, violence than the actual movie.
For a while.
Yeah, but then it was oh, you get to that scene and it's oh, never mind.
That one scene coming up, yeah. I think it was it was they probably did an algorithm when they're just wait a minute. We are low on nudity. Our nudity meter is run out. We have to bring it up.
I mean, I hate to say it, but they kind of did need to, because like I feel like
a little bit.
I mean, like I feel like a Tales from the Crypt movie has to be a little bit sleazy.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, this movie is sleazy in a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
But not just the nudity, but just in lots of ways.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm just saying, I feel like they kind of had to at some point.
Yeah. So her husband reanimates from the dead, and he slogs his semi-melted corpse upstairs. Pretty good drippy corpse effects. It kind of reminds me of the Tar Man from Return of the Living Dead.
I love the way when his fingers press against the wall, they just kind of like fall off.
Yeah.
That's so gross. That's great.
For those of you who haven't seen it, in Return of the Living Dead, the very first zombie in that movie is a man in a bucket called Tar Man, like by the fans, who has a great animated face, but his head gets knocked off with a baseball bat, and then he keeps coming after them, which is pretty great.
That's top tier zombie effects right there.
That was, I was about to say, even if you never watch Return of the Living Dead, which we will review at some point, but just watch that scene, look up Tar Man for Return of the Living Dead, and just watch that part. It's so amazing. You can even skip the rest of the movie. The whole movie's kind of great, but I mean, that scene in particular, though, it just, perfect zombie thing.
Oh, yeah. It's like...
I love a good decapitation.
It's one of the few movies where, like, or I guess, like, even media, where the zombie is given a lot of personality just kind of, like, by the effects, but also you wonder, like, how it got to be the Tar Man and whatnot, whereas I feel like when other media tries to, like, inject some, like, uniqueness into zombies, they'll be like, and here's some weird power it has. Tar Man doesn't have powers, he's just creepy looking.
He's just a weird guy in a bucket or a barrel or whatever. So the lady mistakes his gooey footsteps for her lover until it is too late. They do that thing where she's got a cloth over her face and she's like, "Hey, what kept you? Hey, what's that weird cologne you're wearing?" You know, that usual bad horror movie stuff.
Watching enough bad horror movies like that at a formative enough age did put a huge fear of blindfolds into me.
Yeah, that's true. And also of just being too naive with people around you and not investigating circumstances.
No, honestly, those kind of things stuck with me. I don't care how much I trust someone, I would never put on blindfolds, ever. Not doing it.
I feel like there's an unspoken rule in bedrooms where you should always sleep with your head furthest away from the door so that when people come in, they can't just like catch you unawares and kill you really quick.
You better believe I
facing the other way,
facing the door, so if like I can open my eyes and see what the hell's coming in. I also make sure to lock my doors all the time, even though nobody can realistically get through the gate. Yeah.
Okay, the corpse gets really close to her. She's like, the bad cologne, blah, blah, blah. She takes off the blindfold. She sees the guy. She gives off what I would consider a rather bad scream. He's raising a hatchet. He's going to kill her. And then the Cryptkeeper calls cut because he's directing the scene. Whoa, twist, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
He criticizes the zombie man, who it turns out is played by John Larroquette. You might know him from Night Court if you're like 40 or 50. He hasn't done anything too famous since. I'm sorry to sound so dismissive. I like Night Court. He was in some movies and stuff, but mostly he's in TV now. You know, he's an older guy.
It is very funny how obscure a reference that was, to the point where I had to look that up myself. I saw it and it was like, that's definitely, that's a reference. That's like a guy.
He's somebody, right?
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a couple decades too young to get that.
Although I don't know if he was ever that big. And I don't mean to crap on John Larroquette. I like him, but I was just thinking, like, what if they had gotten Tom Cruise in 1995? You know, they still could have done that.
Yeah.
He wasn't that big yet. If it was Tom Cruise in this movie, that would have, like, added maybe half a star to my review. You know? Just like, holy crap!
That's one of those things where, like, he wasn't that big at the time, and, like, people would probably check that movie out because of that.
Yeah, or maybe they should have gotten Stephen King. I mean, he'll apparently do anything, so,
Oh, that would have been perfect.
He'd be like, "You call that acting?" And he'd be like, well, I mean, I'm more of a writer." He'd be like, "Shut up!"
No, it's like I said, like Stephen King, he needs to be in more cameo appearances because they're always good.
He should be like the Stan Lee of
Sure.
horror and just be in everying.
Or, like the Quentin Tarantino and bring every scene that he cameos in down with him. Which I have to...
Yeah. I want a scene where I say the N-word like 30 times.
I have to admire his ability to... Because he knows. It's not like he's unaware. He'll just put himself into a scene and he's like, yeah, I'm wrecking the scene.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah. But I would say that he does pull it down a little bit in some of it.
Maybe, I guess Pulp Fiction is like the one where he doesn't. But he gets like 3 lines. Anyway.
Yeah. Like I said, I thought the Crypt Keeper was going to razz on the woman for a bad scream because honestly, a lot of horror movies are made or broken by a good scream queen. You really need to believe that performance to sell the whole movie. That something scary is happening and that she's in imminent terror for her life. But, they were already giving her a hard enough time, and so they're like, let's just have him, razzing on the guy. I mean, all he did was stand there and raise up his arm to hit her with a hatchet. It's not like there was a lot you could do to act that scene. I guess a lot of people debate that, Kane Hodder is, a great Jason because he sort of breathed heavy when he, ran through walls and stuff. But I never really, to be honest, saw a big difference between the various Jasons.
Yeah.
So... Kane Hodder fans, write me in your letters, please.
See that. It's hard to tell because also those movies are they vary so much in quality that it's hard to get too much of a read on that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess some of that is a stylistic choice because by the time Kane Hodder was Jason, he was already an indestructible monster man. In prior ones, I kind of liked it actually when he was a little afraid to get hurt. He acted more like a human being. He could be knocked over and stuff.
When are we...
But I guess there was a big power creep in those movies where each sequel, he got a little stronger,
Completely bonkers. When are they...
Yes,
when are they doing a reboot of that? Because, they're going to do it eventually, but,
They already did. It didn't go super great. They made a new
no, I know,
Friday
but,
the 13th back in... Wait, when was that?
First
early
of all,
2000s
that's
something?
plenty of time to do another reboot. And the franchise, it's got name recognition. They're going to do it again. I'm just curious when. Well, yeah, I think
they should.
They could.
I've envisioned doing reboots for both A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. For Friday the 13th, I wanted to use that song Chandelier by Sia and just show all of the money shots of Jason throwing machetes into people's chests as they're trying to run away. It'd be this euphoria of death and violence.
I can kind of see it, yeah. Oh, God, I don't know if they're
Yeah, because, at this point, people know the franchise. You should just get right to the goods, don't worry. For the ad. I think for the movie, you should always go a little tasteful and have three-dimensional characters. But for an ad, for a trailer, it should be all the cheap stuff. Just put all the good stuff in there. Just hide a little bit for the movie.
Of the poster for that slasher movie, Pieces, where the tagline is, it's exactly what you think it is.
It's everything that you think it is. Oh shit! I'm sorry.
No,
I misspoke.
No.
Yeah, you had the exact.
Yeah, no. There's something to that kind of.
It's very good.
Honesty, with an advertisement like that. Come on, piggies, get your slop.
Yeah.
You know what you're here for.
Yeah. Come on in. It's exactly what you think this is going to be. Okay, so John Larroquette gets reamed by the Crypt Keeper, and I don't know. I remember as a kid, I thought wow, this special effects are amazing. They put, it looks like the Crypt Keeper is walking around, but no, he's not. It's pretty bad. There's a human body, and then they just cut out an image of the Crypt Keeper's head talking, and they just moved it around on the guy's body as he talked. It was not great, but at least it's short. If you can't pull it off, just do it long enough, to get the job done. John Larroquette says, "Oh, where'd they dig up this guy?" Which is actually a great joke. For such a terrible scene, I thought it was almost subtle, which is, for me, that's I'll do a little applause for Tales to the Crypt when they try for a little subtle.
I
don't know if you can even call it.
I did a half smile when I was watching it.
Having said that thing earlier about how bad it looks when he's walking around, when they cut to the actual Cryptkeeper puppet,
Yeah.
I think it still looks great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They have a ton of puppeteers. I also saw a behind the scenes thing with John Kessier or Casier. I don't know how you say his last name. He's the voice of the Cryptkeeper, and he had a weird thing on his jaw, like a chin strap, and it would measure his motions. It was like early CG mapping. So every time he spoke, it would move the mouth of the Cryptkeeper. And then he also had two thumbs on like an RC looking controller. So each thumb ran a joystick. So I'm pretty sure that he was running the facial expressions as he spoke. And then other people animated his hands and body.
Think that I watched a thing about that. I'm pretty sure that's how that went.
Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive. I just think it's a great model. It's a great design and a great execution. It's a genuinely impressive thing. I wish it was introducing something like Universal Studios or Disneyland or something.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, what is that puppet? I mean, it's like probably just like running away somewhere.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a bunch of them, and they're all made of latex, and so I think that stuff rots away pretty bad. I don't know if you've ever seen the footage or a picture rather of Hoggle from Labyrinth. It looks like just a pile of rotten mushrooms at this point. It looks horrible.
I mean, I'm a fan of old Japanese monster movies like Godzilla. So some of the shit that's happened to those suits is it's pretty heinous.
Well, they look pretty heinous to begin with, and then they look worse as time passes. So yeah.
I mean, you get like worse treatment where like some of that shit just goes completely uncared for. Other times they'll just like repurpose and like butcher up an old Godzilla suit for a monster in a different series. So it's just ruined forever.
So I'm guessing at this point, the Cryptkeeper probably looks like something that could be in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that'll eventually get made, I guess. Because like you'll have the exposed servos and all the creepy stuff, that to really just point to how much of a puppet it is rather than a real thing.
Yeah. Well, didn't they just make that Nicolas Cage movie that was basically that, but not very good?
They're cashing in on Five Nights at Freddy's before the real movie got made, because the real one keeps going through production hell. It's got all these different scripts, and nobody likes them because they're probably all terrible. And because they didn't make any decision, some cheap director was able to pay Nicolas Cage just enough money to show up, but not really say anything, just to make a bad movie. He's like, I'll do this movie, but I don't want to have to speak in it. Sold!
Can I dress up in Ghost Rider makeup?
Yeah.
No? Alright, well.
I want to make a movie where I'm badass all the way through. I don't want a character arc. I don't want any backstory. I just want to be a badass the whole way through. All right.
That is the dark side to this whole Nicolas Cage Renaissance thing. Is he will be in legitimately fun movies like Mandy or The Color Out of Space, but then like that also means that other people will just like latch on and be like, all right, what if you had a car and you escaped from hell and you had to protect your daughter? Jesus Christ.
Work your magic, Mr. Cage.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think he needs to be controlled by a good director. And when they do, he's excellent. He'll do exactly what you tell him to do. So tell him the right thing. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just let him do anything. You got to guide him a little bit.
Peter.
Yes?
I got to point something out.
All right.
This is minor criticism, but we are about an hour into this recording, and
yes,
we have not actually gotten to the movie.
Hey, we're in the cold open a little bit. Yeah, I know.
Holy shit, this pacing.
We'll go as long as we have to. No, listen, we've had a lot of side stories. There'll be a lot less as we get into it.
Yeah, I know. No,
I promise. And I don't know. It could be any number of these little parts I may or may not take out. We'll see. We'll see what the audience says. Maybe we'll just leave the whole thing in and just be like, you know what, just sift through this. Find parts you like,
Yeah, I'm actually like, to be honest, I'm completely against the idea of editing anything. So, I mean, ultimately it's on you, but I mean, If it were up to me, this would just be what it is.
As a mode of explanation, I mean, besides the fact that, I'm a little self-conscious, but I grew up with a stutter and a lisp. I had to overcome both. Because of that, I still do occasionally, I'll stumble over myself, and I hate it. I don't think other people care as much, but I care a lot, so then I'll have to go through and take all of that out, or at least I try to. Maybe eventually I'll just embrace my own flaws and just let myself shine the way I am, but that day is not today, Jacob.
Okay, fine. All right.
Anyway, also, the more we do this, we'll have better polish. We don't got to do all that editing crap.
Sure.
We just let it go through. Sail on through.
Absolutely.
So back to the movie.
Oof.
Well, not even to the movie yet. I want to talk very briefly about John Case here, just because he's interesting.
Jesus Christ, Peter.
This is important. He's the voice of the Crypt Keeper. It's the whole thing.
Okay,
so I just wanted to briefly mention, he's the voice of Buster Bunny on Tiny Toons Adventures back in the day.
This is not
and
important.
He's done a lot of voiceover work, is what I'm getting at, and he still does. He has a long list of things. Most of them didn't interest me, so I didn't mention them.
Okay. Was he on
also
Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Maybe. Did you look that up, or are you just asking random? Because we'll be here all day if you ask.
No, I was asking for something I give a shit about.
Oh well,
I don't give a shit about.
I grew up on Tiny Toon Adventures.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
It was important to my childhood, man.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't want to make fun of your childhood.
I'm sorry. Well, no, wait, I'm not sorry. I don't know. I think I was in the 5th or 6th grade when that was coming out. It was right in my wheelhouse.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's some stuff he's done after the fact that I'm sure a lot of other people care about, but I forgot to write it down, so sorry. Go look up what he's done. It's interesting. There's a long list.
Okay. To be clear, I absolutely refuse to do that, but I do believe that he has done a lot, and I do respect his performance as the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, no, it's an impressive performance. I just think he's had an impressive life. He also did a show called Secrets of the Crypt Keeper's Haunted House, which is a children's show with the Crypt Keeper in it. I think it was a game show of some kind. I remember seeing it as a kid. I don't remember anything about it. I might insert a clip in here where I take a bizarre out of context clip, and just have him say it. That might be fun.
Take me out to the ball game.
Don't forget, man, you need to keep your balance on that bridge. It's a long way down.
Sure, but it's funnier if you just leave that whole dialogue in there about how you're going to do that and then don't.
Or just have a real long silence, but maybe with cricket sounds or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Crypt Keeper introduces the movie. I don't remember him saying anything memorable except the part at the end where he says, "We're going to the movies! Frights! Camera! Action!" So yes, he does say that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Also, I like the fact that the movie literally emerges from the pages of an edition of Tales from the Crypt. However, as I said earlier, this movie isn't based off of anything that came out of those comics, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'd like people to think it did, though. Because it is one of the better Tales from the Crypt stories.
Well, it became that after the fact. That's certainly true.
Yeah.
Yeah, this script got kicked around to the guy who directed the first Child's Play film. His name is Tom Holland, but he's not that kid who's currently playing Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay, I was about to make an unfunny joke, so I'm glad you cut me
I
off
killed
there.
it!
Yeah.
Yeah. Nipped it in the bud. All right, and then it went to Mary Lambert, who directed Pet Sematary. She was about to do it, but then she debuted Pet Sematary 2, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, now let's not let her do this movie," which is a shame. I like Pet Sematary 2, but I understand. After you see that movie, you're like, what's happening here?
I feel like, not to go on a tangent, but I feel like Hollywood used to be more critical of those kinds of failures.
Yeah.
Where you could just eat shit once really bad, and that was it.
Yeah, it was kind of one and done with her. I feel bad about that.
I mean, I don't know if that was maybe it was a sexism thing, but
maybe
you look at, I mean, yeah, maybe, but you look at the things come to mind right now. But I mean, there are plenty of examples of directors who make
Zack
something
Snyder.
bad. Well, I mean, his movies make money, though.
Yeah. I don't know
also,
if Pet Sematary 2 did make money.
Also, he's a visionary genius and a master of cinematography.
We cannot have a second episode be about this man. He doesn't do horror stuff.
No,
except for Dawn of the Dead?
Yes, except for Dawn of the Dead. Peter, you brought him up. I was not going to mention him. That was that was entirely
dodge
on
around
you. Yeah, well,
all right.
Yeah, to be honest, that was who I thought of, but you brought him up. Anyway, let's move on.
So eventually, Ernest Dickerson got the directing chair. He was an early collaborator with Spike Lee. He later went on to direct the Snoop Dogg horror film Bones.
I haven't seen that. I do want to, though.
I would like to. Maybe we will for this podcast. It'll give me a reason to do it. You know, I've never gotten around to it.
Yeah. I've been thinking about some bad shit for next episode. You're not gonna like it. No, you're not gonna like any of it. It's like no, okay. There's like one.
I'm sure our audience waits with bated breath to find out what your ultimate decision will be.
Oh, I mean, this is more. I'm sure they'll be fine with it. I'm sure you're not gonna be fine with it.
Oh, I see. Okay, challenge accepted, Jacob. Bring it on.
Do not tempt me.
Okay, so the movie proper, we're gonna get into the actual movie. Okay, so the movie proper starts like Terminator or Terminator 2, you know, where there's one guy chasing another guy. You don't really know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. I love the 90s rock music. I don't remember the band, but it's that song that's in everything in the 90s where it's like, you know, he's driving around.
It's funny. It's so generic that like I know the song, but it completely slipped my mind.
Yeah, I can't think of it. It's like Grease. It just slips out of my mind.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's also the song they use in an episode of what's the Mulder Scully show called, Jacob? X-Files, right? Took me forever to think of that. Yeah, so it reminded me of an episode of the X-Files.
You cut me off from a good joke, but never mind. All right.
I'm sorry. There was an episode of the X-Files where they play that song to build up some ominous tension with a teenager who gets angry. I believe it's the medic guy from Saving Private Ryan, Giovanni Ribisi, and he kills people with lightning. I just remember that, you know, where they're getting to that part of the song where it's like, and it like hits someone with lightning.
Yeah.
It's just a very 90s thing.
We should do all of the X-Files movies.
Oh my god. That's not horror. I don't even know what that is. It's kind of sci-fi, I guess. It's borderline. I mean, it's kind of occulty sometimes. You know, it's got murderers in it and stuff. I don't know.
No, that we shouldn't actually.
But the movies are terrible. Like, I remember there was one with the black goo, and it was boring. There's something about bees in it.
That's like
it's like they didn't realize that the only good thing about the X-Files was the Monster of the Week stuff. And then they're like, for the movies, they're like, all right, you know what we need to do? Have a real long discussion about the boring alien part that no one likes.
That's a fun thing to like suggest, but never to actually do. So I'm sorry, we're not doing X-Files. No.
I don't know. We'll see. But that's too much in a gray area for like, you know, there is an honest and legitimate discussion about what is or is not horror. But I feel like certain things fall a little too far out. And I think that one drifts maybe a little too much into sci-fi spaceship stuff, I guess. Okay, so back to the movies once again. William Sadler is the main character. He's driving away from a man in a cowboy hat, as I suppose we all would. I mean, it's just so ostentatious. You can't be trusted wearing a cowboy hat. Indoors? You know, he's in a car.
It's a little tacky.
I actually think he looks nice in it, but, you know, we live up in the Northwest, you know, that's more of a Southwest thing, or Midwest.
Sure.
Few and far between are the men in cowboy boots and fedoras, or whatever they call the cowboy version. Are they called fedora? No, they can't be that. It's just a cowboy hat, I guess. Anyway. William Sadler is a craggy-faced actor who has looked old for decades. However, now he is for real old because he's 70. So only a couple years younger than Stephen King. The more you know. He was in Shawshank Redemption. He was in The Green Mile. He was in the very first episode of Tales from the Crypt. He also played the Grim Reaper in several of the Bill and Ted movies. the second and third, I guess.
I mean, I suppose people can look this up, but if you're curious, William Sadler looks like Tucker Carlson if he drank from the wrong goblet.
Oh, that's horrible.
What? No, check the page. He does. It's bad.
He chose poorly. William Sadler is an excellent actor, and I love him in this movie. Actually, I love him in every movie he's in. He's pretty solid.
Yeah, yeah. To be clear, he's been in some good stuff.
I mean, he's never been a bad feature in anything. You know, he's always added to the experience.
Yeah, I mean, like, as the mummy in Bordello of Blood.
Not that. I forgot about that. Yeah, he plays a mummy in the sequel. Playing something with the Cryptkeeper? What is it, poker or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not great. Okay, but almost everything else. So Sadler is sporting an intense leather jacket, and he's flooring the accelerator on some old beater car out on the highway. In hot pursuit is another car, within which is Billy Zane. I'm just going to tell you right now that this is the best work Billy Zane has ever done. With his work as the villain in Titanic a close second, I'd say.
I was kind of holding off on that because there are some like specific parts that I really like about his performance. But this, he makes the movie. The movie would be so much worse without him. Yeah, I think they were just sort of like, just go nuts, be silly, it'll be great. And usually when you tell an actor to do that, they ruin something. But this is perfect. Like the way he does it is so good. Yeah, we'll get into it for each individual scene. It's just a joy. I will say, before we go through this too much, it is worth keeping in mind that Billy Zane is kind of a theater guy. Is he? More than a film actor. Oh, well, yeah. I remember in Tombstone, he played a Shakespearean actor who gets shot. Keep that in mind when you hear about his performance. He is very theatrical. You know, that makes sense, yes. Also, he was in an episode of Tales from the Crypt himself. I think it was somewhere in season 5. He played a magician, and he plays it very theatrically, let's say. Yeah. That's kind of his thing. It does seem like he's playing to the audience in a great way, but he does it in a very contemporary way in this movie. It's not like it ruins anything. It's great. No. He's winking at the camera the whole time. Yeah. Like I said, he does nothing but add to the movie. Sadler has run out of gas. You know, they've been chasing each other for God knows how long. So he stops his car to fire a shotgun at Zane's fast approaching vehicle. And it's just like spanging off of the hood rather ineffectually. It does almost nothing. Yeah. Except for the very last shot that just catches the engine on fire somehow. I'm like, all right. Yeah, I mean, that's how engines work. I was cool with it because then he bashes into Sadler's car just as Sadler is climbing out of the window. And both cars explode in flame. It's great. I gotta say, I kind of hate that because they do a wide shot where you can see the car getting exploded. And I understand someone's detonating something. I understand for practical reasons, but he isn't there. Like, it's just two cars. He completely disappears and then reappears in the next frame. Are you talking about Billy Zane or are you talking about Sadler? Sadler. Oh, yeah. Well, he does get out slightly before, but I'm not sure how slightly. I assumed he's rolled in a ditch or something. Well, no, that's the thing. It's just in the next frame after the car is done exploding, he pops up right behind the two exploded cars. I understand. I understand for practical reasons why they couldn't have that happen. Don't shoot the shot that way. You know what I mean? What you wanted was a man in a blonde wig and a dirty leather jacket who had to stand by an exploding car just so that you could be more immersed in the scene. No, I'm saying is don't shoot it that way so that you can see that he's not there. I was too distracted by the explosions. Well, that's why I'm saying it's nitpick. Yeah, minor nitpick. I mean, in my notes, I just wrote, this is great. Because I just like it when two cars explode in an inappropriate fashion. Sure. Oh, also worthy of note, Zane doesn't even bother to try to get out of the car. He just bowls into the other one. Sadler heads on down the road. He checks the palm of his right hand. There are black stars that are tattooed there. I think there's 7 of them. And they are forming the beginnings of a circle on the palm of his hand. For some reason, there's a panther tiger type noise that indicates that one of the black tattoos is shifting. Would he ever hear the growl if he didn't look at it? I feel like the growl is being saved for when he bothers to look.
But what if it didn't? He could just be like walking down the street and be like, oh crap, my hand's blowing up. Like, wow, the prophecy is going to be fulfilled soon.
I mean, I feel like it's generally best not to ask those kinds of questions.
Sadler, he gets alerted by his hand, and then he makes it down to a little restaurant down the road called Halfway House Cafe. Okay, so there's a whole series of notes I wrote after this point in which I thought certain things that ended up being wrong that I have believed for years. I thought that a boy that comes up is the son of another character who is not here. We'll get into it. It gets confusing, but they associate with one another, and I think there must have been more scenes with the kids' parents, but they're all removed, so there's no real point of reference for who this kid is.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this though: this kid's a little snitch, and deserves to get beaten up for what happens later.
We'll get right to it. I mean, Sadler comes in, he pulls out a pocket knife or something, and he tries to open a car door. He's just jamming a knife in the lock. I don't think that's how that works, but, whatever. I guess you got to do what you got to do. At any rate, he's interrupted by the car owner's son, young blonde boy Danny, who we were just discussing.
Mm-hmm. The snitch.
Yeah, the snitch. He looks like he could have been in the band Hanson, maybe as the drummer, if any of you know that reference.
No, we get Peter, we get the reference. You don't need to. Don't do this.
Well, I mean, reach a slightly larger audience if they know what I'm talking about.
No, keep going.
All right. So the kid comes out and he's like, "What are you doing?" And Sadler just creepily offers him a quarter. He's like, "Oh, I was just checking the locks. They're good. Hey, would you like a quarter? Come closer. I'll give you a quarter." And the kid's just like, "Dad, someone's trying to steal your car!" And he runs away. That was good.
Yeah, but it also sucks because I feel like if you see a guy like that trying to break into your car, I feel like it's out in the middle of nowhere. They've probably got a good reason for it. If we're being honest, No,
I can't join you on this opinion. That's ridiculous. You're at some sleazy diner in the middle of nowhere and someone's trying to steal your car. You're going to get mad and run out there. You'll be happy your son snitched.
Oh, no.
The kid is totally a snitch.
From the father's perspective, I get it. But what I'm saying is the kid, you don't know what he's going for.
You're on Sadler's side for offering a quarter? Like, oh yeah, I'll just take this bribe.
No, first of all, he should have just threatened the child with a gun.
Or a knife.
Just, don't talk or I'll plug you.
One of the fatal flaws of this scene, actually, is that we find out later Sadler has just a roll of $100 bills in his wallet somehow. He should have just given the kid $100, and the kid would have shut up. He would have.
Yeah, maybe that's more fair. If you take the 100, understandable. If you snitch after he offers the 100,
then you can plug him.
Sure, plug him, or it's okay if the school bullies beat him up at that point.
Jeez.
Because it's take the hit, man.
So the kid says, "Dad, someone's stealing your car." And then Thomas Hayden Church runs out. He's playing a character named Roach, which is a horrible name. He's a horrible character, so that's fine. I mostly remember this guy from the movie Sideways, but I guess most people will remember him as the guy who played Sandman in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3.
He did.
He did do that. Well, anyway, he's a great character actor. Yeah. He's great in this movie. Very hateable. But here's the thing. For years, I thought he was the father of this kid because the kid says, "Dad, someone's stealing your car." And then this guy runs out and the camera centers on him. So it's just like, oh, this is the dad. So for the entire rest of the notes, at least for a long time, I kept writing that he was the dad and the other kid was his son. That's not true. This kid is unrelated to this guy. So Roach hears someone else's car is being stolen and he runs out. And then the camera looks at him as if he's important, even though he's not.
Oh, you know what? I see what I remember him from. He was Tal Hadges in John Carter. That movie we all remember. And
John Carter of Mars, Jacob?
Why, yes, one and the same.
Like really boring He-Man?
I like that movie, and that is exactly the best way to describe it. It's just boring He-Man.
Yeah, and He-Man already isn't that interesting to start with.
No, yeah, He-Man is also not very good.
also the author of that story is in that movie. Yeah, but this is unrelated to what we're talking about.
Anyway.
All right. So Sadler runs off into the bushes, having been, shooed away from a carjacking. Eventually, he encounters none other than character actor Dick Miller, who basically played himself in every movie he was ever in. I love this guy. He was in Gremlins 1 and 2. He was in Terminator. He was in The Explorers. He was probably in 50 Roger Corman feature films.
He is one of those guys. Like, I feel like some actors get a little unfairly characterized as just playing themselves.
Okay, maybe I was being a little mean, but
no, you're not being mean here, though. Is my point.
I see.
Is that sometimes that characterization is unfair? In this case, the characterization is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
He literally just made an entire decades-long career just playing himself.
Yeah, it's just kind of a sauntering, older, sort of craggy-faced, world-beaten, salt-of-the-earth kind of guy, And you want a swig of this?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to come at me with that, find me an example that's not the case.
Sort of The Explorers, he's kind of a nice guy in that one. No, well, actually, he's a bit of a creep in that one, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A little bit.
Well, okay. No, I'm sorry. He was the gun shop clerk in The Terminator.
I love that part, because Arnold Schwarzenegger is just like, I want the repeating laser assault rifle. And just what you see here, pal.
Yeah.
He was great in that scene, actually.
To be clear, I love Dick Miller.
Yeah.
It's just that, he just plays the same guy. It's a good character.
Yeah, I mean, watch this movie, and then watch Chopping Mall, where he's the janitor, and he's the same exact man.
He's Murray from Gremlins here.
Yes, he's Murray from Gremlins and everything.
Yeah.
But it's always good, so I mean, why fix what ain't broke?
I don't hate it when actors are one note, if the note's good.
Yeah. Sadler almost sticks him with a knife in his surprise at encountering someone. And Miller doesn't notice and just offers him a sip of booze and a tip about where Sadler could sleep for the night. He's like, hey, you want a drink of this? It's something horrible. They don't say what it is, but he's just like, it gets the job done.
This movie has an interesting relationship with booze.
It does indeed. They cut to some cops. There's a sheriff and deputy. The deputy's name is Bob. I don't remember the sheriff's name. And spoiler alert, he doesn't live very long, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I did have a note about that because even though it has been over a decade since I've seen that movie, it was immediately I was like, oh, right. Yeah, this guy's not living very long.
The two of them, these two cops, are investigating the still flaming ruins of the two cars. They have Maryland and New Jersey license plates. As we know later, there are demons and devil characters in this movie. And I'm not surprised that, they might have come from New Jersey. I'm just kidding. It's just a little East Coast joke,
Yeah.
Why is it that everyone poops on New Jersey? Is it because it's near New York and it isn't New York? Is that what the deal is?
I guess. I don't know. I never really, I've always thought the whole, coastal rivalry thing is pretty dumb.
Yeah, I mean, as a West Coaster, I never really knew what was going on over there or why. It's just fun to jump on the bandwagon. I'm sorry. I'm a small man.
Yeah.
Petty and small.
I mean, also, when I inevitably do move to New York, please have mercy.
Please don't kill me for saying rude things on a podcast.
No, I've been living in Seattle, lived in California. I feel like at some point I'm going to migrate to every major liberal hub in the United States.
Ah, I see. Okay. It's part of your your mecca. You have to
No.
meet all the quadrants.
No, it's entirely involuntary on my part. It's just going to happen at some point where I'm going to end up living in New York.
So back to this. Two cops.
Yes.
They're investigating a wreck. Billy Zane just casually walks into view from out from behind the two cars. And he says he was pursuing another man. And he looks perfectly clean and unharmed. And they're all just like, what happened? And he's like, airbags, you gotta love them.
Yeah.
Why would you admit you were in the car? He's just like, well, this was my car. Yes, I was in it. I am unharmed. Don't worry about it.
I kind of get the impression that he doesn't care too much about convincing
I guess
them.
not.
Like
Although,
the idea,
for now, yeah, he's keeping up illusions for a while, you know?
yeah, I mean, I guess the impression I got was that this is more of a fun little coincidence for him, and if it works out, that's fine. If it doesn't, then whatever.
I do kind of like that position because I feel like humans are so fallible that if you are some kind of, well, okay, this gives it away a little bit, but yeah, if you're a deathless creature, pursuing someone, you've got all the time in the world to wait for someone to just make a casual human error. You know, you can just scoop up the stuff when you need it, without much of a fuss.
Also, Peter, the movie is named Demon Knight. People kind of get what's going on.
Well, at this point in the film, I mean, you could say it's one way or the other. I mean, they've shown Billy Zane, he says he's after a criminal. They show William Sadler, he's trying to steal a car and he creepily offers a kid a quarter. And then he he doesn't smuggle. He drinks booze off of Dick Miller. So, I mean, in the Terminator type thought, where you're like, well, which one of these is good, which is bad? It could go either way at this point. Is it that you just don't trust a guy in a cowboy hat who miraculously doesn't get hurt in a car wreck?
Peter, you've watched movies before. There's no doubt that, I'm sorry, Billy Zane's the bad guy. There's no mystery. There's literally no mystery here unless this is, your first movie.
Well, okay, maybe. But, I'm just doing this for the benefit of people who haven't seen the movie or don't know what we're talking about, or maybe who are really naive.
That's fine.
I'm not going to judge. I'm not judgy.
Oh, okay. I mean, to be clear, I do want to meet the person who, I can watch
Was
Demon
genuinely
Knight
surprised?
With. Yeah, I can watch, Demon Knight with, and then, 15 minutes into the movie, they're like,
Billy Zane's evil? Oh my god! I'm sorry, if any of you are that person, I apologize.
I appreciate you, but I will continue to laugh. That's very funny.
It's innocence, but it's adorable innocence. It's not bad.
No.
That you're so trusting of the world around you. He's a cleanly dressed man. He's got a Texas accent. He can't be bad.
Exactly.
Look at that trench coat or duster or whatever the hell that is. I mean, that just looks nice.
Oh god, I really like this theoretical person we've made up. I think
well-dressed man.
No, I feel like they're a very kind soul, and I really appreciate them.
Yeah, exactly. They put their hand over their heart when the scene happens. They're just like, oh my god, I just can't believe this.
Oh my god, yes.
In this tawdry children's film from Tales from the Crypt, how could they do this?
I really want this person to be real.
Okay, so Dick Miller so back to it again. So Dick Miller and Sadler head for a strange-looking boarding house. I think it's called Mission Hotel. I'm not certain, but anyway, Miller explains that it was a church that was closed down in the 1950s for lack of interest, which is really funny to me for some reason. You're like, just close it, whatever.
I did like that line. It was just kind of no, just not enough people are going to church, whatever.
I also love this 90s angle, and I consider this a 90s angle, where it's really low on, desert, and then it goes up towards the church. So it looks like they're really tall walking towards it, everything's super flat, and, even though it's far away, it looks close. Yes. And then there's, that fake lightning that they drew in, where it, crackles in.
Yeah,
I love that. In every movie that has that, just thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's that thing. We're going towards it. Sadler checks his hand again. His hand growls at him and seems to make the circle of the black stars. So, the whole thing's done now. And he says, just the place I've been looking for. You think he would be a little more sad? He's just well, I mean, once you know what happens at the end of all this, you'd be like, oh, this really sucks. Maybe I should just not do this. Well, I don't suppose he has a choice, right?
Peter, the movie has to happen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, no, I mean, we'll get into it. So, inside the boarding house, they meet CCH Pounder, which, by the way, is one of the coolest names ever. That's just an amazing name.
Yes. Also, I feel like I like her in everything she's been in.
Yes. Yeah, she's the African-American lady who's been in a ton of stuff. I really liked her in this. I really like her in Psycho 4 or 5, or whichever one it is that she's in, where she's a radio host. I really like her. I think she's in The Shield or some show like that where she's like a no-nonsense lady. She plays a no-nonsense lady in a lot of things, but very believably so. And she brings a lot of personality and direction. I'd say almost everyone in this movie is an excellent actor.
Yeah.
With the exception of maybe 2 of them.
I will say also, presumably, she will be good in the upcoming Avatar 2 and Avatar 3.
She's going to be in those?
Yes.
Oh my god. I thought she should have been Amanda Wallace in those Suicide Squad movies. I think she's a better one of those than the current lady.
So, funny thing about that. She has voiced she's voiced Amanda Waller, the character in some of the Suicide Squad animated movies.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, such a
they were probably just like, we need an authoritative lady voice. Someone that's kind of like CCH Pounder. And they're like, well, why don't we just call CCH Pounder?
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, for the record, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then, she played Amanda Waller in the Batman Arkham games, too. So,
cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically the other ladies, the odd one out. CCH Pounder is traditionally Amanda Waller.
I guess that's true. So she plays Irene in this movie. She is a no-nonsense proprietor of Mission Hotel, ? It's in a neon sign outside, but they only show it briefly once.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what it's called. But they never refer to it by name, so mostly I just call it a boarding house. It's some kind of thing. It's weird, because when he goes in to get a room, she's like, I don't rent to strangers, and I don't do short term. I'm just like, what kind of a business are you running? Is it an apartment complex? I don't understand.
It's weird, but that is kind of the impression that I get, is that it's like effectively public housing. You know what I mean?
I think I consider it feels like a boarding house, where they probably get like a public meal, and people come and talk, but they all have their own rooms, that kind of a thing.
Well, sure, but what I'm saying is that it's like, if you can't afford to rent a place or to own a place, you go there. That's part of the town.
Yeah. So it's funny, because she says that, like, I don't rent short term. I don't do this for strangers. And Sadler just pulls out an impressive roll of $100 bills. And she's like, I guess I can make an exception for that. I'm always happy to see that. Money? I mean, all right.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. It's just funny, and then she asks for a name and he's just like, John Smith, and she shoots a look, but she writes it down anyway. Have you never heard of that happening before? I mean, I feel like everyone knows about that.
Well, yeah, also, like...
Write a random name. My name is John Doe.
Also, especially if you're, like, renting out a room to a stranger in a hotel. It happens.
My name is Frank Everyman.
Yeah.
Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo. That's the worst name I ever heard. Where's Joey Jojo? An old Simpsons joke. All right, so
I'm Alan Smithy, and I'm here to...
Yeah, that'd be good for this movie. We're just...
Oh, my God.
And then you look directly into the camera. Like, when I was filming, Mr. Dickerson says, I was really unhappy with how things were going. I thought I might leave the set, but then things got better, and I just left it in.
Yeah.
Also, we're introduced to a lady named Cordelia, played by Brenda Bach, who didn't do a whole lot. She's a kind of a TV actress. Or I guess we say actor for everyone now. So yeah, a TV actor. Yeah. She in this is a prostitute. I mean, there's no nice way to put it.
No, well, I mean, there's worse.
A lady of leisure.
There's meaner ways to put it if you want to.
Well, the movie wants you to be mean to her, and I feel bad about it.
No, that's right. I mean, we'll get more into it, but yeah,
it's just sort of like, oh, you shouldn't feel good about this lady, And then right off the bat, she's just like, ooh, there's this man, I don't know. I feel, not that I've met a lot of prostitutes, I've incidentally walked past a couple. That's the best I've got. But, like, I don't get the sense that you lay it on that thick right away,
No,
Especially if you're a higher class one. I feel like you bide your time, you learn a little bit more, you investigate, and then you start making your, advances, as it were.
I feel like the whole relationship is very weird because she is basically known as the town prostitute, the one, and that's just like, how does that work?
Well, the cops actually do mention it later. They do mention something when they're talking to her, where they're just like, oh, like they said he was, or she was with a man. I think it was Thomas Hayden Church. Well, spoiler alert, he shows up later. And they're just like, well, I hope he wasn't paying for that. Like, it's like, I think it's sort of like a finger waggle. Like they're just kind of looking the other way. They don't want her to be flagrant about it.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I get it, but it's a weird relationship to have in such a small town.
I feel bad for the actress, for the role. I don't like how poorly she's written. She's one of the worst parts of the movie, maybe.
I got some issues coming up with that.
But I just want to separate, though. I'm mad at the role, not the actress, not with Brenda Bach. She's beautiful. She plays it reasonably well. But it's more just the role. I don't like the way her character is crapped on by everybody.
I mean, let's be honest. It's women in general,
No. Jacob, please.
No, I'm kidding.
Don't do this. But no, I mean, the further back in time you go, the less kindly a movie is willing to be to a lot of women in various roles. And it's not fair.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's just say that.
Sure. No. I get what you're saying.
I mean, it's not that long ago, but I mean, it is almost a 30-year-old movie. I guess times do change, okay? Things are better now.
I mean, they are, but also, I will say, this movie could have been worse about a lot of that stuff, so...
I guess. Yeah. I mean, they at least try to be playful in their ignorance.
Yeah.
Okay, so Irene calls for her daughter, Geraldine. I keep writing her name 5 or 6 different ways in my notes, with multiple N's and stuff in it. I don't know how...
I just referred to her as Jada Pinkett after a while.
Yeah,
it's not worth.
It is indeed played. She is played by Jada Pinkett-Smith. Well, she's not Smith yet. She's just Jada Pinkett. Yeah. This is just after Menace to Society, in which I think Dickerson had some involvement in it. That's probably how he got her into this movie.
Mm. Yeah.
Originally, they were going to go with a white lady. They were going to go with Cameron Diaz, and this is just after The Mask, so that would have been huge.
I guess, but Jesus, I like Jada Pinkett in this movie.
Oh, no, Jada Pinkett's really good. No, I'm not saying it's a lost opportunity. I actually think that would have been worse.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if they're like, okay, Cameron, listen, we have Jada Pinkett now for the leading role, but we still have the Cordelia role open if you're interested. No.
Damn. What a missed opportunity.
That actually would have been great.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to be mean to Brenda Bach, but that would have bumped things up a little bit, maybe.
I don't know.
Anyway.
So, yes.
Jada Pinkett comes out. She's overworked and underappreciated. And she has to clean this stove, and they talk about that stove 3 or 4 times throughout the movie. Is that stove clean yet? It's I just started it. Look, I've got these oven cleaning gloves on. Get it done, and now you got other things to do. Because she has to go lead William Sadler to his room. It's room number 5. And she has to cook dinner for him and then other things. So it seems like Irene's just kind of having her do everything that she doesn't want to do.
I can get behind that. I don't blame her.
Well, she is on work release. They do say that later in the film. So she got caught for stealing something. So this is part of her parole. So I guess maybe her mom just thinks it's cool to work it out of her. Like it's a demon you got to work out of her. Cleansing through sweat. Maybe.
Are they... I don't think they're related.
But mother-daughter? I thought they were, but maybe they're not.
I don't think they are.
Maybe I just assumed. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Well, I don't know. I always thought.
All right. Yeah. Hey, everyone. Just of note, Peter is a racist. So, just write that down.
Oh, God.
I, however, am not, and took the more socially progressive stance. So, anyway.
In fairness, I saw this as a child, and I took those prejudices of the time with me.
No, I don't know. I guess I never got that from their relationship. They were related.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. I thought it was a tough love mom thing, but I guess I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, like you said, it was originally supposed to be a white character. I don't think from their relationship, it felt more work than family. I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to be wrong on that, but yeah.
Geraldine leads Sadler up a weird metal railing balcony onto the second floor to get to his room. I was just thinking it's odd for a boarding house or any place, honestly, to have metal railing like that.
Yeah.
I know it used to be a
Also-
church, which I guess would be okay, but it just seems weird even for that.
Also, Peter, can we start calling him by his character name of Frank Breaker?
Well, we
Because-
haven't been introduced to his name yet, but yes, his name is Breaker.
Because I will say this, Breaker is such a good surname for like
Yes.
kind of an actiony guy.
Although, in fairness, that's also not his name. It's just that we never learn any other name. So people just call him that.
I guess. Whatever. I think it's his name. It's a good name. It's a good action name. I like it. Frank Breaker.
Mr. Breaker.
Yeah.
Frank Breaker. Ass kicker.
Well, kind of, yeah.
A man with a mission.
Yes.
Fight to survive.
Yeah. All of those things are true.
On a mission from God.
Yes, actually. Yes, spoilers.
Literally,
But yes,
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
that is actually the plot of this movie.
Uh,
His quest is righteous.
yes, it is.
Frank Breaker.
Like, you can keep doing this and it's not going to stop being true. That's who the character is. It's good. I like it.
So downstairs, Cordelia is commiserating with a curly-headed man named Wally, who apparently just got fired for stealing the mail. This creepy-looking weirdo named Charles Fleischer is most famous for being the voice of Roger Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
So, minor note, I do have Wally in my notes listed as the male cuck.
Oh, I don't like that word. But yeah, I mean, before his time, he's an incel before his time.
He is literally the male cuck. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he's an internet troll before the internet was really a thing.
Yes,
I could just see him writing angry messages.
I know.
Ugh, women don't take me seriously.
Okay, I am glad that my immediate note after that is, how weird is it that this hotel has its own resident prostitute? That's true. It is weird. Anyway.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, wait. Also,
I also know. Yes.
Okay, an immediate note after that. God, this place looks dirty.
Despite the fact that Jada Pinkett is supposed to be scrubbing it like all the time.
And
It's a pretty filthy place.
The whole place looks awful. It's so
It's like an
gross.
adobe church, and it's still got that dusty, clayey look, like it's filthy and like 200 years old, something.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, because, yeah, it does look like, in some ways, both, like, very ancient and just, like, someone didn't do, like, regular weekly upkeep.
Oh, and just one other minor thing I wanted to add about Charles Fleischer. I most remember him, actually, from A Nightmare on Elm Street, when he's a doctor at a sleep institute that doesn't make a big deal of the fact that Nancy just pulls Freddy Krueger's hat out of thin air. It's like, that's weird.
Dream Warriors, right? Or am I...
No, it's the first film.
Oh, shit.
They take her into an institute to,
that's
to
true.
gauge her
Yes,
sleep.
you're right. Yeah.
And then from out of the covers, she just pulls out his hat. She didn't walk in with that. And they're just like, how did you get that? She just materialized that out of a dream. If you're a sleep doctor, that's like, you should be seeing like the light of God in your eyes. You're just like, this just made my career.
That's true. Also, he played Boris in Balto 2, Wolf Quest.
Okay.
And Balto 3, Wings of Change.
I never saw even the first Balto.
I did. Anyway. Let's keep on
I'm sure
going.
someone cares. I'm glad. All right.
There's going to be
So-
like one person who listens to this who's like, I like Balto.
Yes. Thank you, Jacob, for
Yes.
bringing it up. I was going to be so mad if they didn't bring up Balto. It's clearly Charles Fleischer.
That's a cute movie. Anyway.
So in this, he's a disgruntled postal worker for Zippy Ship or some made-up name like that.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't want to get any particular company mad because of how much of a caricature of a man this person is. And so we're going to have to lay out a couple of facts about this man. He's clearly in love with Cordelia. Second, she's clearly only nice to him in a friendly way.
I'll say it, hence the name Mail Cuck. Because he delivers the mail. I'm sorry. This is just the way things are. I
don't like the term, Jacob. It's a mean term.
It's
It's toxic.
look me in the eyes and tell me that this guy is not a cuck. I'm throwing that term around. I don't think I've used that term before in any of the movies that we've discussed. This guy is a cuck.
I would feel bad calling him a simp, but I mean, he's also that. I mean,
oh, you're gonna hate some of my comments later on.
Okay.
If you hate,
something to look forward to, folks.
Yes, we'll get into it.
Okay. All right. So Geraldine is too busy to get Cordelia's sheets out of the dryer. Geraldine said it took forever to get the stains out and couldn't even get them all. And then Cordelia says, the damn guacamole. These are such terrible jokes. It was like written by a 50-year-old man who's like, what would a prostitute say?
Yeah.
Like some vaudeville act. But they're in the dryer and Geraldine doesn't want to go get them. And so Wally agrees to go get her sheets. It's just like, oh God, Wally, your life sucks.
What am I telling you? I'm not saying this to be mean. It's who he is. This is pathetic.
After, he's nice and goes and gets the sheets. And Cordelia says, maybe I should give him a freebie. And the CCH Pounder, playing Irene, she just says, just what he needs, someone else screwing him. Which is a beautiful line. Perfect.
I don't think
she has great lines in this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think she has a single wasted line in this movie.
No, because, she's written perfectly. I mean, a lot of these other characters are questionable, but hers are just perfect.
I mean, part of that's just because, I like everything she's been in.
She's just great.
Yeah. She's never had a bad performance. She's great. I love her.
All right, so from here on out, I will call William Sadler Breaker, because that's an awesome name.
Yes, thank you.
So Frank Breaker, man of God, he slathers some ketchup all over a bowl of some kind of gruel in a soup bowl and just plows into it. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of paste of meat, because Dick Miller is sitting there and he's just like, it's yesterday's roadkill.
I assumed it was more of a chowder, I guess. I don't
know. It's not clear what it is. So I know this kind of hunger, that would make a man eat ketchup out of a bowl of something that doesn't need ketchup.
Oh, right.
I don't know if you've ever been out on the road or you've been on a long hike. One of those times where you can really relish the inside of a relish packet is a rare and wonderful feeling in your life.
Sure, yeah, sorry. When you were talking about hunger, I thought we were going back to Wally. But,
no, not that hunger. Dear Lord. No, I just mean, no. Actual hunger of Breaker. Yeah.
Listen, man, I have been day 2 into a Ren fair and eaten cold clam chowder from a can. Wow. So I know hunger.
Absolutely. Cordelia watches him eat, and then she says that afterwards she'll handle dessert and lays herself out on the table in front of him. I do appreciate that he at least looks dumbfounded by her offer. Just like, what?
I mean, if you don't know, what do you even say to that?
What's going on here? Oh, you're a prostitute. Oh.
Yeah, in case it wasn't clear.
I mean, she did see that he had a ton of money. She was standing right there when he whipped it out. So I guess she knows that he's a source or a mark or whatever. A black cat jumps up on the table next to her, and Irene says to get that pussy off of the table. And Cordelia hops off.
Yes.
I meant the cat.
Okay, wait, you see what I mean about her getting all the best lines?
Okay, yes. It's a dreadful joke to make at the woman's expense, but she delivers it great.
It's a bad line, but it's very funny.
She delivers it great. Yeah, she gives a look, too, where she's just like, ha ha. This is as good a time as any to point out that most of the characters of Demon Knight are a bit two-dimensional. The sooner you make your peace with that, the sooner you'll truly enjoy this film. I think. The cat's name is Cleo, which is probably irrelevant, but I wondered if it was named after Miss Cleo, the fortune teller.
I thought the same thing.
Back in the 90s.
I was curious.
Yeah, well, I actually looked into it. Alas, no. Miss Cleo wasn't doing those ads until a year or two after this film,
dang.
So maybe Miss Cleo named herself after the cat.
That would have been so good.
Yeah, that's a shame. I really wanted that to be true.
Yeah.
For those of you who weren't raised in the 90s, Miss Cleo ran a bunch of ads for something called the Psychic Readers Network. It was all a flim-flam. She had a bunch of different aliases. You know, like all legitimate people do. And she was eventually arrested for some sorts of lies she did. I don't remember what exactly it was, but, you know.
Yeah, I would also...
She was found to be a con person.
I'm sure the commercials are on YouTube. You should watch them. They were funny.
Yeah. The cards don't lie.
Call me now.
Yeah.
What a great character.
So Irene keeps demanding Geraldine finish the stove. Like a gunky stove is time sensitive. Irene mentions she's on some kind of work release program, and we already mentioned that. But, you know, this is when she brings it up. A car honks outside, and then Breaker stands up like it's a big deal, like, oh no. And then just in comes Thomas Hayden Church. He plays Roach, who I wrote as Cordelia's boyfriend, but I think maybe we should put boyfriend in italics or something, you know, or in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like that's exactly the arrangement. I think he's more of her regular, or her John, you know?
Yeah.
It's not really clear.
Yeah.
But as a child, I thought that they were, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend.
It kind of feels that way at the beginning. Because he, like, comes in like, hugs her, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, they hug and kiss, and they go upstairs to fool around, just as Wally is arriving with the basket of sheets.
Look!
Perfect timing!
Here.
Crush his dreams!
You see what I mean? When I call him...
Well, the movie's just set up to just hurt this man.
Look, I'm not trying to be cruel when I call him the male cock. That's literally...
Wait, please, limit your use of this horrible term.
because it's funny to me to call it... It's literally... He works for the post office, and his entire role in the movie is to be a cook. I don't throw that term around needlessly.
I was just thinking, as Wally's standing there with the basket of sheets in his hands he was going to give to her, I wish he had a line right then where he was just like, I guess I'll just put this down then.
In my head, he did.
I'll put this over here.
That doesn't need to be in the movie, because that is how I imagine that went down. Because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah. I guess Irene ratted out Breaker because the sheriff receives a message from dispatch telling them to go check out the boarding house. Apparently there's absolutely no insulation in the old church, because every grunt and thrust coming from upstairs just goes right down to where everyone is sitting in uncomfortable silence.
Literally just to torture Wally.
It is, yes, literally. They're all sitting, you know, like staring at each other across from like a dining table or whatever it is. And Wally is just dying inside listening to it.
The movie vindicates me on this. I'm sorry.
I think it just vindicates aggravated postal workers. You're like, you should just go on a...
Hey. I got to think about that. Let's leave that.
Because that's what this movie's more about. This is the time of, you know, going postal as a term. Because the postal workers were the first to lose their minds and shoot everybody.
There's a scene that's very relevant to that coming up later on.
Yes, I know.
Save it for that.
All right.
Please.
So Geraldine is the only one who's taking it in good humor, though. He's just like, man, he's really holding on tonight. That's a pretty great line.
It's good.
He usually finishes super early.
Wow, Wally. Make you feel real embarrassed and emasculated by that.
No, I was just thinking, like, when Roach comes out later, you know, adjusting his belt, and Geraldine is just like, wow, you gave it to her great. Yeah! You know, he'd be like, thank you.
Wait. It would be... God. I hate them thinking about this. Imagine if Wally gives him the high five.
Or no, worse yet, no, Wally goes in for a high five, but Roach doesn't notice and doesn't return it, and then Wally has to just bring his hand down.
I feel like I have to...
We're riding this hog to hell. That's what we're doing.
First of all, that, and also, like, I maybe have the most complex feelings towards Wally that I've had towards any character that we've ever discussed in this show before. I am...
Apparently. It's all very fascinating.
I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I just have like utter contempt for this man.
Yeah. As an awkward young man, I mean, I think when I was younger, I related to him more. As I'm older now, I'm just like, less so. And thankfully, because almost all of his traits are bad ones.
Yeah. He sucks so much.
Yes, he does. Breaker, he just finished eating at the table. He asks Geraldine what she was in jail for. She shoots him a look, like, why would you ask? He just says, I'm not judging, and she just says, well, I stole stuff. It was theft. I like that they have these little moments of sort of sharing, Didn't need to be there, but they really help.
Okay, I will say, it's been a while since I watched the movie. I was dreading the idea that they were setting up a semi-romantic thing between these two, and I'm glad it didn't go.
Is that what you thought?
Were you watching it? Yeah, I kind of did. And I'm glad they didn't go.
I never really got that feeling.
It was light, but it was more of my cynical... I guess if they remade...
I guess that is what usually happens in movies, right?
Yeah,
if there's a man and woman, it's like automatic.
Yeah, I guess that was more my cynical Hollywood view of, oh, okay, I see what they're doing here. Which I'm glad they have.
Yeah, but no, they play it well in this. I mean, they don't play everything well.
No.
Wally. But I mean, they do have parts of this movie that are actually well thought out. At least some of the
characters. I get.
And Geraldine and him, I think, do have a good dynamic. Very friendly.
They do, yeah. They
kind of
they
professional.
do. That was just my initial impression, and then that was one of those things there were a couple of bad assumptions I started out with this movie, and it ended up walking away with a positive feeling though on the whole thing. So that was one of those things. Yeah. All right, not to get too far ahead. I walked away from this movie feeling pretty good.
I think it's a feel-good movie in some ways.
Yeah.
If you're looking for certain things, this movie will give you those things.
Yeah.
So the cops arrive with Billy Zane in tow. He's still wearing his cowboy hat. Breaker pulls a butterfly knife and holds Geraldine hostage. I think butterfly knives are cool. They're very cinematic, the way you can kind of whip them up and open.
Yeah, I kind of wish I got a couple of knives. I kind of wish I had a butterfly knife.
Aren't they illegal or something?
Actually, that's probably true. That's probably...
Or is it switchblades? I forget. One of those became outlawed.
Yeah.
Maybe for concealability or something.
Well, they're switchblades. And anyway, I'm not a knife guy, but I do have a couple of knives. So it's a cool knife. It would be fun to learn how to do that thing, I guess is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Not planning on stabbing anyone. I just like the idea of learning how to do it. It looks cool.
Hey, brandishing a knife is way different from actually using a knife.
Peter.
I feel like there's a lot of importance. Just threatening a weirdo on the street is not the same as actually shooting him.
Look, Peter, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying I'm just saying it looks cool. I'm not trying to threaten it.
When I need to threaten
hobos, look, okay, first...
This is my knife to brandish choice. That's my number one.
Well, so first of all, I live in a fairly nice place in San Francisco, so we don't have to worry about that too much. But anyway.
All right. Billy Zane is unfazed by the hostage situation. He's just he's not going to hurt her. He absolutely will not. And the cops come in on him. Breaker indeed loses his nerve and drops the knife. The sheriff cuffs him. They find his wallet. They identify him for the first time in the movie as Mr. Breaker.
Yes.
Irene says, son of a bitch, he called himself Mr. Smith. Like she was fooled. I love that. How long have you been in business, Irene? I think she might have been born yesterday. So Zane tells the police that Breaker has hidden a rare antiquity in the shape of a key. And he needs to find it, I guess.
So,
the deputy is sent upstairs to look for it. I don't know why it's the police's problem. I guess it's related to the arrest, right? So maybe they do need to do that?
Yeah, I will say, this is something, it doesn't happen often in movies, but I really like it a lot, where the bad guy has the authorities on their side.
Yeah. That is fun. I like it.
Yeah, there's some, it doesn't last too long, but there's a lot of interesting tension with that, where it's sort of
yeah, they probably should have played with it a little longer, but this isn't really a movie for subtlety in the end.
No, but it's fun. I wish more movies did that kind of thing.
It would have been more fun if you already knew, but at this point, you still, if you'd seen it for the first time, you might not know that Billy Zane is evil. I mean, the more the scene goes on, the more obvious it becomes, but, you know.
I'm sorry, like, if you're a child, I'm not, like...
Hey, listen, you are insulting our one credulous listener who was totally fooled by this movie. He was this clean man, cleanly shaven. He was well kept. He seemed nice.
He played the Phantom. How could he be a bad guy if he played the Phantom?
That was supposed to be his big breakout movie, but I just don't think people wanted him to be a good guy in anything.
Well, also the Phantom sucks.
I don't want to say that.
It's a bad, like...
He's boring.
He's a boring hero with a boring concept. He friggin' sucks.
Yeah, the concept of the Phantom is that if he dies, there will be another Phantom. So
that's... Oh, wow, that's really cool. So, like, you can kill him, but, like, another dude will show up later, and you can kill him just as easily? I guess that's... Alright.
He's the Pez dispenser of superheroes.
Yes. He sucks. Like, he's
the Dread Pirate Roberts, but less interesting.
He's worse than the Green Hornet.
And that's saying something.
Actually, Green Hornet, he has, like, the gun. That's cool.
He has a gun.
Well, yeah, Anyway, whatever. Green Hornets.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I don't want to crap on Billy Zane's career. I like Billy Zane.
Billy Zane. I like him a lot. Even though he was in that awful Holmes and Watson movie.
Oh, I didn't see that.
With Will Ferrell, where he literally just...
Oh, no!
Yeah! It's such a bad joke, but I love it. So, like... I'm sorry, I'm really sidetracking, but it's very funny. Holmes and Watson have to solve the case on the Titanic. And Billy Zane shows up, and literally the whole joke is, oh, it's Billy Zane, the guy from Titanic. 4 minutes of that.
God, that sounds horrible. I'm glad I didn't see that.
I mean, like, it's funny because, like, Billy Zane clearly is just like, yeah, I am the guy from Titanic. This is kind of funny. But, like...
They should have just had him go by in the background, you know, with the kid in his arms, be like, I have a child!
Yeah. Something like that. It's like a funnier movie would have been more subtle about it.
Yeah.
The fact that the movie is completely unsubtle about it is kind of funny to me.
Okay, so, like I said, you know...
Yeah.
Billy Zane in this movie, he gets the cops, the Deputy Bob, an overweight cop who's kind of an idiot, to go upstairs and look for the relic in room 5. He doesn't find it in room 5, but he does hear obvious signs of sex in the room next door. So I can't imagine there was ever a time when he thinks it was necessary to pull a gun, but he does, and he goes to the room, peeks through the door. Like, I don't understand this whole sequence. He peeks through the door. He sees them having sex in a weird way, Roach and Cordelia. And then he kicks the door open and says, freeze. So he's not fooled. So I think he's just doing it to be malicious. He's just like, I'm going to give them a scare. I'm going to point a gun at them.
It feels that way. Yeah.
I guess. Or maybe it was cut together where, like, originally he was going to just kick the door open, which would have been more innocent. But then they wanted to have him, like, do a scene where he leers at them. And then they just, like, oh, we'll film it 2 different ways, but we'll choose one. And then afterwards we're like, nah, we'll just do both.
I mean, yeah, that could be it. I guess I got the opinion that, I'm of the opinion that he was being kind of a creep.
Yeah, I guess.
He kind of knew what was going on, but decided to, like, barge in anyway.
In there, Thomas Hayden Church has car jacks clamped to his nipples via a car battery.
Yes.
And Cordelia's riding him topless and jolting the batteries, I guess.
All to give him sand powers.
Yeah. This is his origin story. I mean, like, I don't even know how to handle all this. I mean, it's so ridiculous, but, like...
Yeah.
It almost crosses a barrier. Like, it's so stupid and, like, it's such a mean-spirited joke to be like, this is what prostitutes do. They do crazy stuff for their johns and meh. Written from the view of someone who doesn't know anything about any of it.
Yeah.
But it's so over the top that it almost becomes funny again. Where you're like, oh, okay, well, this is ridiculous.
I mean, I feel like the tar battery thing is more of a joke at the expense of Roach than of her.
Yeah, which deservedly so. You don't know so at this point, but he is a horrible man, and so every time you could make fun of him, you should.
Yeah.
And I do like him. He's just like, my nipples are smoking. They get brought downstairs. I don't know why they're involved in any of this. Like, I guess they want witnesses, but it just seems like the deputy's being a meanie head, I guess. Yeah, I don't. The whole scene just confuses me. But when he gets back downstairs, the deputy says, like, oh, I mean, they were with each other, but it was almost more like a lube job, like you bring your car into the shop. He's like, I don't want to hear about it. Which is, that's kind of funny. I would have preferred the joke if you hadn't seen it. I guess they needed a minimum threshold of nudity and weird scenes happening. So they kind of needed to show it, but I almost would have preferred if you didn't see it, like if it was from downstairs looking up and you just hear the door get kicked in, because then your imagination would almost be better than anything they could have come up with.
Yeah, I can see that.
But, it's Tales from the Crypt. They kind of want to be a little in your face. So I guess I can't totally blame them.
Sure.
So the sheriff says that Frank Breaker died 5 years ago, and whoever Sadler is must be some kind of imposter. The cops go to drag him out to their squad car, but Mr. Hopalong Zane insists he get back what was stolen from him. And he's like, where'd you hide it? And Breaker's not going to say anything. But Uncle Willie pops up. That's Dick Miller's character.
Yeah.
And he says he suddenly realizes that he saw Breaker hide the thing right in front of him. I thought that he meant that he saw Breaker stash it out by the cafe, like out in the bushes. I'm like, yeah, that would have been kind of a good hiding place. But it's like, no, it's right under the table, right there. Did they not want to have to film another scene where they go out and get it? It just like, no, it's right here, just right under the table.
I mean, I can't fully blame them for that. I mean, I feel like that's maybe where I would hide it.
I do love the epic theme song the relic gets when it gets pulled out. It's just like,
yeah.
I always appreciate that when he gets like an Ark of the Covenant kind of a theme song for like an item of importance. For those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's a sort of a metallic gilded cross with like an ornate vial full of red stuff in the center. Later on, they point out that it actually was created before the time of Christ and it shouldn't be in the shape of a cross. And also there's no reason for it to have blood inside, but it does. So those two things.
Movies, folks.
I mean, it suits the purposes of forces of good keeping the key, but neither of those were intended, and they were built by demons. Like, why would a demon build it? We'll get into it later. But yeah, like, why would you build it so that you couldn't get it? Or maybe they have some kind of a weird thing where, like, they can only get something if they struggle for it, so they have to make it hard for themselves.
I mean,
like, yeah, we got to make it fair.
I feel, well, okay. That's an interesting thought, because I feel like demons are traditionally, mythologically speaking, bound by rules.
Huh.
So I don't know.
I prefer that. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that I feel like demons tend to be bound by their own, like, moral code,
Huh.
I feel like that fits. I don't know. I kind of like it.
It's possible.
Yeah.
They get into the exposition about this later, but for now, nobody knows what's going on. So Zane tries to get Uncle Willie to pour out what's inside and place it in Zane's handy little relic carrying case he just has on him. Just put it right in here.
Yeah.
But the sheriff isn't having it. Dispatch just told him that both cars in the wreck were stolen. So he decides to bring both men into the police station so they can sort this whole mess out. Billy Zane don't want to be hearing that. So as they're walking away, he's so close to grabbing the cross. He's just like, it was right there. But now the sheriff's trying to lead him away. So he's just like, we'll sort this out later. And Zane's just like, why don't we just do this now? And he turns and punches a fist right through the man's face and out the back of his head.
Great effect. I love it.
It's amazing.
It's like
everything goes Dutch angles. Everybody screams.
I like the fact that he struggles with it after he punches the guy through the skull.
To get his fist out.
Yes, it's great. It's good effect.
It makes like fist in a mayonnaise jar noises, like.
Yes, it's so good. It makes me smile. It's good effect.
Yeah. So while he's struggling with the remains of the sheriff's head on his fist, Breaker tries to get the keys off of the deputy's belt. And then the deputy pulls a gun on Zane. Zane rips the sheriff's head off of his body and throws it at the deputy.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
That's what I wrote. Just amazing.
Yes. So, yeah.
I love a good head throw. Breaker gets his hands free and pulls the relic out of the pocket of the decapitated sheriff. He burns Zane's face with the relic, and Zane nimbly leaps through a stained glass window. I love that. It seems like he has a prepared jump. Like, I wonder if he thinks of that as some sort of a demon, where he's just like, all right, well, here are all the exits, so if I'm in trouble, I'll just leap like Spring-Heeled Jack through this window here. Ha!
No, Spring-Heeled Jack. I can't believe you... Well, Google that. If we're, like, talking about obscure shit.
Yeah, that's a good one to Google. There's a reason they never made him into a movie, because he's just a groper that leaps high. But still, it's an interesting story.
You could do it. You could make a Spring-Heeled Jack movie. Well, just to make him a groper. I don't know. You could do something.
It's like half of his thing, though.
Well, Jesus, yeah, you're not wrong. Just change it. He's like a guy who like mugs people or like beats them up or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, Billy Zane goes out into the, well, I was going to say yard, but it's really just desert. And he just says, "Humans, you're not worth the flesh you're printed on." And I love it when he finally sheds, his Texas accent. He tosses away the hat. He throws off the duster.
The little dance he does.
I love the little dance. I mean, I try not to curse in this show, but it's just hey there, ho there. It's really good.
Yes, yeah. If you don't watch the movie, at least look that up.
Just watch that scene. It's beautiful. I just love that there was just just make fun of the accent you were just doing and just be as crass as possible.
Well, that's one of those reasons why I feel like this movie was sort of like a runaway, let Billy Zane do whatever he wants movie.
Yeah, they're like, just be like the genie in Aladdin, just do whatever meta stuff you feel like doing.
But yeah, he does it, and it's great.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. He pulls out the one claw finger. He does this once or twice in the movie. I just think it's funny for some reason that he can just manifest a claw in one of his fingers. Mm-hmm. He's just like, all right, this property is hereby condemned. And he cuts open his palm, and predator blood comes out. It's bright yellow. It also kind of looks like the reagent stuff from Reanimator.
Yes.
Just that kind of thing.
I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No, that's fine. I was also going to comment, I feel like the general effect of the demons rising up from the goo looks good.
Yes.
I don't think... I don't want to be one of those, anti-CGI supremacist types, but
yeah,
this movie would look significantly worse if they made it today.
Yeah, probably. Well, here's the thing. This movie was made a couple of different ways. There was 2 scripts. One of the scripts had no demons in it.
Really?
It was going to be Billy Zane, kind of the same, except he was going to be more of a Bible salesman. And then his followers were going to be additional salesmen in black suits and sunglasses.
Yeah.
So it was going to be sort of a joke, I guess. They probably would have played up Zane a little more just because they didn't have the demons. But honestly, the movie is made by these demons. They are so good. They didn't have the money for it originally. The director or someone, I forget, maybe the producer, had to beg to get more money. They're like, listen, this movie is called Demon Knight. It has to have demons in it.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely a good call. They made at least 4 full demon outfits, and that is enough to make it look like there are dozens, and it looks great.
Yeah, they make the most out of the limited special effects they have.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an interesting idea of having the Bible salesman types. They look so good. I like it.
Yeah. It would have been a different movie. It probably would have been more of a comedy if it was that. I could see people, leaning through windows being like, "Hey, we just want to talk to you," and you have to push their faces out.
Yeah.
So as we said, Billy Zane splashes the blood around, and this magically spawns underlings. They come out as fetuses first, and then just kind of quickly pupate, or whatever you want to call it. They just morph into adult versions of themselves while they're playing over dramatic choir music, which I love, which is
yeah.
It's pretty good.
Way too dramatic for this movie.
Maybe, but then again, if that was happening, that's probably what would be playing in your mind. Just the horror of it.
I guess. But
He's spontaneously creating demons out of nothing.
I mean, you could say that about a lot of really dumb movies, though. If you saw a critter from Critters, that'd be pretty horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still horrified by the way they roll around in a ball.
Oh god, not to get into it. I remember having nightmares watching Critters 3 as a child because of the scene where the one jumps into the guy's mouth and just, like, eats him up from the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we were talking about...
So, this scene has an overuse of Dutch angles. They do that a lot with horror in 90s. There's a lot of insane zooms and tilting angles and all kinds of weirdness.
Also, they do the zoom in shaky face thing with one of the demons where it's like its face is like,
yeah.
Yes. It's the thing that
But I mean,
90%...
the demon outfits are so good that I feel like it's justified, but most of the time it isn't.
Yeah, it's the thing that 90% of god awful indie horror movies do when it's like, all right, time for a scare. Have the guy shoot their head up and down and slide really fast, and it's like, I hate it. It sucks.
Breaker takes the deceased sheriff's gun and reloads it. I'm glad that they actually show him do that, just so you don't have to worry about it.
Well, yeah.
The demons start to invade the church. I mean, there's this weird moment where they're all gone and then suddenly they're all back again. I mean, it's kind of pointless, and so we can just kind of skip over it.
Yeah.
But Breaker manages to kill one right away by shooting it in the eyes. And it blasts out lightning and just gets blown across the room in dramatic fashion.
Looks good.
I'm glad that they have what must have been one of those springboard things that will send people flying into the air. It's like a stuntman thing they do.
If you look at it, I feel like they make use of that springboard a couple of times in this movie. It's nice.
They're all good uses.
Yeah,
no, I'm always happy with it. So he manages to force the rest of the demons out the front door with a bit of suppressive gunfire, I guess. And then Breaker stoops and dribbles a bit of what's in the cross on the doorstep. Looks like blood. It makes a sort of magic seal. I don't know. Is it insulting to call it a magic seal and not a divine seal?
I
guess
wrote blood seal, so maybe that's the worst of them. But I would say I like the effect. It looks good.
Yeah. It looks good. It makes a red outline that lights up with red light. Yeah. And then it just does a distortion thing while it's being created.
I can understand how people could watch it and be like, oh, that looks cheesy, but it's such a simple thing that conveys the crazy magical bullshit that's going on.
In a very definite way, it outlines what's happening and why.
Yeah, it's simple, and I understand that it doesn't look that great by modern terms, but I like it. It's good effect.
It looks a little like the portals from Sliders, but that might be a mark against it.
Yeah, please.
We're not going to get into that, but
yeah.
Geraldine and Uncle Willie try to flee out the back door, but a demon waits there too. Of course they do. He's just like, I'll just walk around back.
Yeah.
Breaker hurls his butterfly knife into his face through the window, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then kicks it off the porch, and he puts down a blood seal that seals that entrance as well. The demons just bounce off of these seals when they touch them, and then one decides to run through it anyway, and he gets roasted and killed for his trouble.
Yeah.
I wrote this note that I said, I would have loved to have been the guy who got to throw the squishy dead demon corpse on the kitchen table. The steaming body, just and he just falls over.
I didn't even think about that. Absolutely.
Somebody had to do that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
In the cold open, when the woman was talking to her lover about her dead husband, she said, it got me so warm and squishy. And then I just wrote that again here. So warm and squishy.
I don't know if you can make fun of the stuff I said after that.
Roach identifies himself as the guy you would least want to be trapped in a house with. Him and Cordelia try to sneak out to his car using a side door.
Okay.
Poor Wally calls after Cordelia. She doesn't even bother to look back.
Peter, do you see what I mean?
I'm going to bring it up. I don't want to rub it in. I'm aware. A demon sneaks around the corner of the house and leaps at them. And in an amazing show of selfish cowardice, Roach grabs Cordelia and just throws her into the demon. It's rare in a movie to see such a pathetic act from a man.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, remember in The Dead Zone, the movie, with Christopher Walken, at the end when there's a politician who's going to get shot, and so he holds up a baby.
Yeah.
Is Martin Sheen holding up a baby? It's like that.
Yeah.
No, take my girlfriend!
I stuff like that is the kind of thing where it's like, there are times when I kind of feel like Stephen King is kind of a hack, and then there are things like, like
they had to wrap up his story real quick.
Well,
They have to ruin this politician in 2 seconds.
No, I don't feel like that's hack stuff at all. I feel like that's brilliant.
Oh.
I feel like I love that scene. It's so good. It always it always makes me laugh. It's like, that's so good. That's perfect. The politician, you could write the same scene and it would have the same impact if he put his wife in front of himself or whatever. But to snatch a baby is just perfect.
It was like a toddler, but yeah.
That's even better. It's so good.
No, hit this instead.
Yes. Stephen King, you're a genius. I love you.
So Cordelia manages a good punch on the demon when it comes after her. Yeah. And then she says, "I'm sorry," which is like a really funny line. And it's also the best thing she gets to say in this whole movie.
Yeah, probably.
It kind of shows like her whole character, or at least the nicer parts of her. I mean, that she honestly is kind of sweet and, and vulnerable. She doesn't want to be hurting anyone, even a horrible demon that's trying to kill her.
Yeah.
It also reminds me, they do that multiple times in the MCU, like when someone's punched the Hulk or whatever, and they're just like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, that's true.
So Wally grabs a gun, goes to save Cordelia. He shoots it in the head 3 times, and it just laughs at him. Like everyone's laughing at him, I guess.
Yeah, I will.
Breaker comes.
I will say that at this point, I do have a note that just says, in quotes, "Nobody touches my prostitute."
I mean, this is the nicest thing he does. It's a genuinely brave thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm still gonna make fun of him.
Yeah. So Breaker comes out and just kind of gives him a pep talk. He's like, "No, well, you got to shoot him in the eyes."
Yeah,
which he does in 2 shots. Which pretty good.
Hit the eyes. Oh, and duck. He has.
Yeah, jump out of the way too. Oh no, wait, too late. So because he shoots him and then the bolts come out and hit him in the chest and just send him sailing off of his feet into the air. Ah!
This movie hates him so bad. He's like the one guy who gets hit by those bolts.
That's true. I mean, it does sort of have to show that it has an effect and that it is, that it's serious, but it's unfortunate that it's him. He's the brunt of everything, really.
I know.
Breaker and Cordelia drag his now unconscious but victorious body back inside. Zane pops up right after them and tries to walk in, bouncing off the seal, and Breaker closes the door in his face. I love how he's just like, "Man, just give me the key, Breaker."
I mean, he's like that throughout the whole movie. I love it.
Yeah, he's just like, "Come on." No, he reminds me of a neighbor if you borrowed his drill. He's almost more like that.
He seems genuinely annoyed.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Cordelia nurses Wally awake, which is sort of nice. It's like they're one of their only nice moments for either character. They both live hard lives.
Yeah.
Breaker finally gathers everyone for a mighty dump of expository dialogue. And I have a brief list of what the bullet points are. Yes, they are demons. Yes, they are here for him specifically. Blood from the relic can seal portals. Destroying the demon's eyes releases their souls violently. Those 4 things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Roach announces to everyone that he plans on giving Breaker to the demons to make them go away. I guess I have to admire that kind of bold honesty.
What?
Listen, Breaker, I don't want to give you the impression that I will do anything other than undermine and betray you.
What? Traitoro has betrayed us?
Yeah. I, backstabber, have backstabbed. All he needed was a ridiculous mustache to twirl.
I mean, yeah, he's almost there.
So Breaker goes around to seal all the doors and windows to the outside. The demons should just dig a hole through an unwatched wall. But, whatever. I mean, I assume they're polite. They're just like, well, we have to go through an actual portal. I mean, we can't just cheat.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The demons like rules.
Apparently, yeah. They can just come in through the roof. You can't seal the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's, like it's similar to vampires. Like they have to be invited inside, but demons, they have to come through a door or a window.
I guess, well, it's like,
It's in the Bible. Just look it up.
it's like Etrigan, where he has to speak in rhymes. Everyone has their own.
That's horrible, though.
No, no, I like Etrigan. No, don't make fun of him. He's cool, but like he has to rhyme. Like demons have their own set of laws they have to obey.
There are some flashes of lightning that illuminate a cross in a stained glass window, and Breaker has some biblical PTSD.
Yeah,
some flashbacks.
That
I noticed that Jesus is getting crucified through the palms, which is incorrect.
Yes,
it's supposed to be through the wrists.
Okay, I'm glad you caught that too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen stigmata. They bring it up in all of those movies about the stigmata because, like, it's a way of identifying a fake. Because in a lot of pictures it's depicted through the palms, but it was never done that way because it would break off. And you need someone to stay there.
Yeah, I haven't
until they're dead.
I haven't seen the movie Stigmata. Is it any good?
No.
It's
not the worst movie. It was a big thing back in the 90s. It hit at just the right time, so it was actually very popular.
Sure.
It was kind of boring. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just not great.
Okay.
I guess it's the best of that kind of movie, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I feel like that
maybe just because I have a low opinion of some of those.
I guess. I feel like that was like a thing, though. I wasn't into that kind of movie, but like I saw trailers for it a lot. More than you would normally think.
For a while, it was. Probably, I think, the late 90s was when it was around. I think it had something to do with the millennium. People getting weird about it.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Geraldine startles him out of his reverie. He apologizes for threatening her with a knife earlier, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
Sorry for threatening to kill you.
I thought that was really funny because I feel like that's one of those things that in other movies they would just kind of gloss over. He's just like, I'm sorry, I pulled a knife on you.
She's just like, oh yeah, it's fine. I didn't think you would actually do it, or somehow I had a feeling you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like we have an unspoken bond, you and I.
Because I feel like in other movies they just like wouldn't have that moment.
Yeah.
Where they where they apologize for doing the like messed up thing to the normal person they get involved with.
There's a thoughtfulness to the movie that is present but inconsistent.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Or maybe certain characters were improved, but not all of it. Like maybe some stuff was just ignored, but then some stuff was polished. Like it could be something like that.
Yeah. I think that's a good summation of the movie. It's polished, but not all the way polished.
There's a little love triangle that's been formulating downstairs. Cordelia, out of gratitude for having her life be saved, chooses Wally over Roach.
Mm-hmm.
Roach is furious. Boo-hoo, I guess. I mean, like, why do I care?
Yeah, whatever.
She did get ditched by him. He literally does grab her shoulders and push her into a zombie.
Yeah.
Or not zombie, a demon. A gooey monster.
A Zeman.
A Zeman. I mean, it may or may not be dead. It's not clear.
No.
It doesn't look like it's fresh, whatever it is.
Yeah. You know what they are. They're evil as hell.
The black cat, Cleo, whom everyone thought was trapped somewhere outside, appears in the kitchen. Breaker goes to touch it with the relic, just to prove the cat isn't possessed. He's like, it works for animals too. They could have a demon in it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And the cat freaks out for no reason.
Well, I mean, that's a good reason to freak out, to be honest.
So it flees down to the basement, and so most of the Scooby gang heads down there to look for the cat, leaving only the triangle of Roach, Wally, and Cordelia upstairs. Roach goes to recruit Wally to betray Breaker, which is like the most ridiculous attempt ever. Why would you even bother talking to Wally at this point? He just got his whole life's ambition.
Yeah.
He's just like, I need to talk to you, man. And then Wally's just like, oh no, I need to talk to you. Like how you just abandoned Cordelia out there. He's just like, whatever, I don't care about her. Which is pretty great. He's just like, I'm going to be honest. I don't care about this conversation. I have my own conversation I want to have right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's funny because it's also just like, Roach is such a bad schemer in this movie. It's funny because he is totally trying to be that kind of guy, but he's not.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't work. And then Cordelia comes over and just says, like, you're not going to change his mind, and you're a piece of crap. And so Roach just says, could you and I talk privately? And, like, I hate this whole scene, but, we got to go into it.
Yeah.
So Cordelia and Roach go walk into a room. I think it's room 4 on the second floor. She basically just lays out that he's a piece of crap and they're done, and that she's not afraid of him. And so he hits her and then throws her on the bed and insults her and leaves. This particular aspect of 90s cinema, insane, hyper-aggressive dudes, is not something I miss. I could be wrong, but I think the scene might only exist so Cordelia is sad and alone for a scene later.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because otherwise, I mean, she already changed her allegiance, which was sort of the right decision, or I guess was not wrong. I mean, they're both crappy dudes. They're just crappy for different reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and she would have been fine, but Roach made her just sad enough to sit around and feel sorry for herself so that she was vulnerable to the point where Billy Zane could talk to her from down at the bottom of the window, you know, like Romeo or something.
I can't just say this whole, like, it's a consistent thing throughout this movie, but like, I like Billy Zane and love his character.
Yeah.
But he is so bad at seducing people.
You think so?
It is shocking every single time that it works. I mean, it's like literally.
I don't know.
It is like literally just like. It's the most basic stuff. Oh, hey, that guy, he's a big piece of shit. And so's that other guy. But like, what if you were with me, the demon guy, and I killed that other guy? And it's like, how are you falling for this?
She's easy bait. I mean, they've written her character poorly. She tells her the things she most wants to hear, that she's beautiful inside and out, you know,
Well,
and that she is worthy of love, you know,
Sure.
like in a non-paying way.
But
you know,
like,
and that she can aspire to more in her life. I mean, I don't think they're terrible arguments.
I guess, but also, I mean, like, I feel like her, yeah, I hate to say it again, Peter, but the male cuck. I mean, he probably thought that. I mean, Peter, you shouldn't have told me that you hated the term so much, otherwise I would use it like this.
I really don't. Well, I find it hurtful. I don't know. It's almost a swear word for me. Like,
Is the character not himself hurtful?
I don't know. They all
He's
are.
he's nothing but pain. I'm sorry.
Maybe not all of them. I mean, Roach and between the two of them, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, crappy for different reasons.
Yeah.
Anyway, the crew downstairs, they find the cat, who is unfortunately not a demon. I mean, I'm tired of cats in horror movies. I just want them to go away. People just die trying to find them. It's a bad scene. You know what I mean? Like, it's never good news.
Yeah.
Although this is the most fortuitous cat finding scene maybe in horror cinema history, because they just find a mine shaft. No, that leads to misfortune. So yeah, maybe not.
Cat dead. Details later.
Oh yeah, from Reanimator. When he finds a dead cat in a fridge, and you're just like, you didn't even tell us. You're like, well, I had to go to class. Should I have just written a note? Cat dead. Details later.
I'm not normally a big fan.
And honestly, yeah, maybe you should have. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of animal violence in movies, but like that whole sequence is. We should do Reanimator.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
So we'll get into it
yeah,
in a future episode.
Yeah.
Cordelia's crying alone. You know, we've already gone into this a little bit, but but then Billy Zane starts talking to her brain, Dracula style. He touches her shoulder long distance. She turns, no one's there. She goes to the window. She looks down. In golden light is beautiful Billy Zane. You know, he's extending his hand like, I could love you, Cordelia. You're not ugly. You're not just a prostitute. You know, that whole thing.
He
caresses her face long distance. There's actually a great effect.
Oh yeah,
she has a tear.
The tear.
They blast it with an air gun, like across her face.
Yeah.
You know, to make it look like he's wiping it off with his thumb. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. I made a note of that. That's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that whole scene. I mean, maybe you're thinking she's too, I don't know, two-dimensional or too dumb for having fallen for it, but like I bought it.
I guess.
The way her character is written, I guess. It's not like I like the way she was written, but they needed weak and vulnerable people there to just basically become demons, I suppose.
I guess maybe my opinion is more that I wish her character had been stronger. I
liked her.
I sympathize.
In theory.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing, is like, in theory, I like her character. I just wish that there was more there so I could, like, sympathize more.
Yeah, I mean, her lines are terrible. No one put any effort into trying to improve her character or
Yeah.
give her any more substance or depth.
Her position is like, that sucks. There's a lot there to empathize with. They just don't do enough with it.
Yeah. I was thinking this scene is probably influenced by Bram Stoker's Dracula, which came out 3 years before. I honestly wish there was more films that had supernatural telekinetic seduction. I just think it's cool.
Sure.
Cordelia lets him into her heart or soul or whatever. Wally checks in on her. She asks if he really loves her. He very quickly says he does. I've always loved you, Cordelia. From the very first day I delivered your mail. I loved you from the very first day I delivered you a package that was from another man.
Go on, Peter. What happens next?
Yeah. So, okay. Irene, the deputy, Uncle Willie, Geraldine want to brave the old mine shaft to escape the demon attack. Breaker says they'd be safer in the house, which is funny because right at that moment, Wally's scream rings out upstairs.
Yes.
So Roach is waiting out on the stairwell like a coward when Breaker and the rest come up to investigate. I just love that little point. He doesn't say anything. He's just standing there looking kind of scared.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go look. At some point, Irene got access to a shotgun. It's weird. I checked earlier scenes. She didn't have it, but now she does, and I don't know when she gets it. I don't know if it's a continuity error or if I just missed it, but just now she has one. So she comes upstairs with it.
Sure. It doesn't matter.
I mean, she probably has one for her boarding house, like maybe behind, the counter or something. I could see that.
Yeah, it's pretty minor.
I was hoping you saw it, but, whatever.
Oh, no.
It doesn't matter.
I didn't see anything to, highlight that.
So in the bedroom, a now demonic Cordelia has buried her talons deep into Wally's face. Breaker tries to shoot her, but she just holds up Wally's corpse so he takes it instead, which is, most of his life was like that.
Yeah, I mean, folks, simping kills.
Even in death, he's just a tool to be used.
Yeah. They look, you pay that girl $25, this is your fate. She's just going to use you as a bullet shield. For some respect.
And then throw your dead body at Frank Breaker.
Yeah.
Because she does that next, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Cordelia strangles Breaker to the ground and her face twists and morphs. Irene doesn't want to risk hitting Breaker with the shotgun, which is nice of her to think of that.
Yeah.
But Roach doesn't care, so he tries to take the shotgun from her so he can shoot them both, which is also funny. Breaker pulls out the relic, but Cordelia bats it out of his hand so that it somehow slides all the way to the balcony stairs leading down and drips a little bit of blood. So it just accidentally creates a seal for the whole top floor balcony area. How convenient. Irene fetches the relic and goes to burn Cordelia with it, but she grabs Irene's arm, breaks it, and rips it off.
Oh god, that's so gross looking.
It's a really good effect. It looks real, and it's really horrifying.
Yes.
It's like a twist, a break, the bone gets revealed, and then she rips off the arm, and there's a spray of blood. It's just, jeez.
It's so bad, but, it also, the effect of it lingers so much longer in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's consequences of it, because she doesn't die right away.
Well, that's the thing, is, you would normally expect that kind of gore effect to be oh, and then someone dies, but it's no, they're still alive, which makes it so much worse.
In some ways.
Yeah.
So Breaker grabs the shotgun and shoots Cordelia's head apart as she's walking weirdly away. She was winning. I don't know why she chose at that moment to flee. She's like, all right, now I'm going to leave. It's weird. Everything in Cordelia's head is destroyed except for her eyes, which fall on the carpet and have to be shot separately, which is just kind of a waste of a shotgun shell. You should have just stepped on them.
Yeah.
Although I wonder if it would have blown you off your feet if you did. Maybe hit it with a rock.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say? The movie does present some interesting ideas for how to deal with a demon like this in non-conventional ways.
It seems like the eyes are fragile enough that if you just did something small to their eye, it would probably burst. So you can even probably just hit it with a little needle or something.
Later on, they decapitate a demon, and it's well, that doesn't kill it, but you can still you got the head, and they can't really...
mostly not a threat anymore at that point.
Yeah. So I mean, what I'm saying is, you don't necessarily have to go straight for the eyes. You just have to get the head, and then you can I mean, the options
Keep it as a pet?
Well, no, but like I'm saying, you have more options then rather than just shoot it.
I was thinking of just like how best to immediately kill these demons if their eyes are what kills them. I was thinking like maybe like a blasting gun, sort of like a shotgun, but weaker. It would almost be more like a slingshot, and it would just burst out sand, and it just hit him in the eyes and kill him. You wouldn't even have to be very accurate.
Oh, sure. I mean, like I was thinking more like situational stuff, like you decapitate a demon and you just like put its head in the basket and you shove the demon's body over. Like, what the hell is it gonna do? Yeah, so you've basically just
as we see later in the film, you get choked is what happens.
But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is you incapacitate both without having to like destroy the eyes.
Well, they say that they have tortured souls, so it might just be that it's like a strong imperative to release them, just to give them peace.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. If you want to be a good person.
Yeah, if you want to be nice about it.
But I mean, if you want to come up with like otherwise, like sure, there are options.
So Irene, she now needs medical attention. So the group again insists that they should try the mine. Uncle Willie says that he knows the layout and that the spur comes out at ground level about a mile away. So I guess it just kind of slopes up. And I mean, hey, at least they took the trouble to write in a character who has some idea of where a newly discovered mineshaft entrance goes.
Yes.
It's nice that they didn't just blindly run in there without explanation. I mean, because a lot of movies do that, and it's horrible every time it does, because you're just like, what? You just die if you take a wrong turn and fall down a pit or something.
Yeah, folks, if you don't know where a mine shaft goes, don't go down it. It's a bad idea.
They're super dangerous.
Yeah,
some are filled with gas that'll just kill you just by breathing the air.
That's true. And not just horrible Lovecraft monsters, like in that story where that thing happens.
And there's also those cave spiders that are like as big as your hand and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. Let's go.
Get all Indiana Jones up and just...
Okay, yeah, anyway, I'll think about the cave spiders. Let's keep going. All
right, moving on. Against Breaker's wishes, they decide to venture down into the shaft. Breaker reluctantly follows downstairs. Roach is breaking the shelf with a sledgehammer, and it gives Breaker like more biblical flashbacks. And there's a guy in a cloak. He's right by the crucifixion scene. And there's a demon who looks like a Muppet reaching for a relic. And it burns his hands on the blood of Christ himself. The man guarding the key.
I like to think it's Gonzo, to be honest.
It does look a little, I mean, I don't know. It's not a well-framed shot. It looks a little silly. It's a shame because the demons look great, but for some reason, the way it's framed, it just looks like a little ridiculous in that scene.
Yeah, it's better.
So yeah, like I said, he burns his hands on the blood, and the guy holding the key seems surprised by that turn of events. And so I just wrote in my notes here, so wait a minute, was this Holy Cross-looking key relic built like a thermos for no reason? So, I mean, he hadn't thought of blood before. No one had considered, like, oh, the blood of the martyr. This will work. So it wasn't built for that.
No.
Or it was, and, like, they knew that sometime in the future, a man would be born who was part God, and then that blood would be useful for their enemies so that they could fill it up and use it against them to seal portals and stuff.
Peter?
Does it have to be in the crucifix? Maybe if it's just like, maybe you just get a big old blood jug and just like have like 1.5 gallons of the other guy's blood and you could just use it freely.
Peter, there are plenty of movies with a lot dumber lore that we could delve into. I don't know if this is the one from that.
I just like the idea of a blood jug. I don't really want to criticize.
No, yeah.
I want more blood if I need that blood. You know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I will say I have some.
He dribbles too much whenever he makes these portals.
Yeah. Oh, you think that's bad? Wait until later on in the movie. I got some absolutely asinine complaints.
I mean, well, there's a scene near the end of the movie where Jada Pinkett, just uses just a smudge from her finger to make a portal. So it's like, why wouldn't you just swig it onto your fingertip each time, and you could do like hundreds more, like it seems like you'd run out of the blood after one encounter with a demon menace or whatever.
Absolutely. But yeah, we'll get to it. I got a scene in mind.
In time.
Yes.
Geraldine finds Roach's son down in the mine shaft. Seriously, how the hell did he get down there? I thought for sure he was a demon, like 100%. It's like, how could he not be a demon?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just him. There's another character introduced to the cast.
Well, here's the thing. I wrote my notes incorrectly here because, like I said, I thought that Danny was Roach's son. Maybe from some illegitimate relationship.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I thought that Roach had left his son in the car. Like, hey, just wait here while I go fool around with my girlfriend. Because that almost makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But that's not it.
No.
Danny's parents were at that cafe. And then he explains in a little bit that his parents were killed in front of him. And then the man came after him. So he hid in the mine shaft, I guess. And I guess it's just miraculous that they found him and that he didn't die. And, spoiler alert, he's only here to kind of mess things up later. So, I mean, great for everybody, I suppose.
Well, also to introduce more spoilers, Tales from the Crypt references.
Yeah. Well, that's not much of a spoiler. The boy likes his comic books.
Yeah.
Demons attack Geraldine and Danny. They flee back to the group in the mines. I mean, they seem a little lost, and then they become unlost when they need to, when it's convenient. So then everyone backtracks to the boarding house. Breaker was wise enough to seal the way back before he left so the demons couldn't sneak in while they were gone. I'm glad they thought of that as well. But Roach spots his boss in the demon crowd and shoots his eyes out, and the explosion breaks the seal and the demons just pour into the basement after the dust clears. It seems like there was probably more scenes with Roach and his boss, and they just cut them out because they don't really pertain to anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, this would be his big moment where Roach is like, and you were a terrible boss, and kills him. But, we have no context for that, so we don't know if that's true. We already don't like Roach, and so now it makes you like Roach even less. You're just like, geez, you're just going to kill someone just because you can?
So, I just wanted to briefly note for the one person who gives a shit. So, Danny is played by a guy named Ryan O'Donoghue, who plays the character Demix in the Kingdom Hearts games.
Okay. Anything notable?
Nope. I just thought that was funny. That amused me. Anyway, sorry.
He looked a little like a young Stephen Dorff to me, but not quite. And also by that time in the 90s, Stephen Dorff was a full-grown man doing that Blade movie and such.
That's funny to me.
Why don't demons just kill each other in front of a seal in order to break it? It seems like they don't care about each other's lives anyway. Why not?
Do you want to be the demon who gets killed that way?
No. Again, it just seems like demons are real polite about the rules.
Well, I keep saying demons love rules.
I mean, I don't think they would all want to do them to each other, but I could totally see Billy Zane just killing one, right in front of the door, and then just being able to waltz right in.
I guess. I feel like my point stands.
The group has to abandon the whole first floor at this point, because the demons are pouring in. And they have to scramble all the way up to the balcony where the accidentally sealed spot at the top of the stairs keeps them safe. Oh, I'm glad I thought of this. Wait, I didn't. If that's the case, if it can do a whole balcony floor that's open air, why don't you just dribble blood all over the floor and it'd make crazy layouts everywhere? All over the room.
I mean, the movie kind of falls apart when you get too into that.
Yeah.
It's too
that as it may.
It's too good of a power.
Honestly, it's a good enough movie that it doesn't quite deserve as much nitpick as I'm giving it. But, it's my way.
Yeah.
It's what you're all here for. Oh, wait, where the hell am I? Oh, yeah, this is when I finally wrote, wait, this kid, Danny, he's not Roach's son. Why is he even in this movie? Sorry, that guy. I don't mean to insult your performance. It's not your fault. You were just written that way. He seems strangely unfazed for having watched his parents die in front of him and then almost dying in a mine shaft and then almost dying downstairs.
Yeah.
That's a real hard night for anybody, let alone a kid.
Yeah, to be honest, that would suck.
This is that point in the movie, it's kind of like in a zombie film too, or there's that little part where everyone's kind of tired and they're sort of taking stock of where things are and how much they have left of resources. And so Deputy Bob says he's down to 4 rounds for his pistol, and there's no more shotgun shells. So they can't fire the shotgun. There's a flashback of Breaker killing a World War I German demon, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, with this flashback, do you remember an old game called Necrovision?
No.
Oh god, it was a World War One first-person shooter back when this is like the dark days of everything being like gray and bland with like first-person shooters.
Yeah.
It was a World War One shooter where trench warfare, but like there was like demons and magic and dragons.
Hmm.
You should look it up. I feel like you would dig that. Because like that was what I was thinking of when I saw that scene. It was like, oh shit! That totally reminds me of Necrovision. Great game.
I was thinking of Wolfenstein or just Nazi zombies on Call of Duty.
Oh yeah. Some of the Wolfenstein games kind of got into the whole demon magic thing too.
He starts laying out his life story to them, because he kind of owes it to them at this point since he's just imperiled all of their lives and everything's ruined forever for them now. So he mentions that his dying commanding officer poured his own blood in the relic and passed the mantle to Breaker. You see him gain the black star tattoos on his right palm, which for him began as a circle, and then they scramble up to show the next reckoning will be many years away. Prophecy has to have a certain form. Breaker describes it as being like tumblers in a lock. Everything has to line up. He doesn't mention at this point that the 7 people, 7 stars thing has to do with him passing on the mantle. I think because that's too much weight to put on whoever it might end up being, and he doesn't know who it is yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has a sneaking suspicion that it's Geraldine, but I mean, he doesn't know for sure. And you don't want to be putting that kind of heat on people in the middle of a dire situation.
No.
Anyone else want to become a deathless watcher that keeps the world from ending? Finally, Breaker lays out the big divine prophecy. There's this excellent shot where, as Breaker explains the formless evil that existed before Genesis, the camera sweeps past his shoulder and looks down at the demons capering around downstairs. The 7 keys are evil, and they are made by demons, and 6 of them have already been reclaimed across the universe, I guess. And there's only one left, it's on Earth, and it's the one he has. I mean, this is when I first started writing, why would demons make it look like a cross, or be able to hold martyr blood? And who knows?
Yeah.
He says God made it get filled with the blood of a carpenter, which I guess is sort of like saying inconsistencies in the Star Wars films are, quote unquote, the will of the Force. It's that kind of, hand waving, similar kind of thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's all worked out.
Yeah.
So the first guardian was a thief named Sirac, who I guess was just stealing the key from Jesus's dead body.
Sure.
Like it was just laying near him, I guess. And a demon comes to get it, and he immediately picks up that the blood keeps the demon away, so he fills it up. I think when you get the key, it tells you the mission sort of subconsciously, because each time they get it, they always seem to know.
Yeah. And that's more explicit
so
later on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super clear, but it seems to be. Each new guardian tops off the key with the blood of the previous guardian. So, at one point, Jada Pinkett's just like, is that the blood of Jesus in there? And he's just like, well, maybe a little bit, but no, it gets all used up. He got filled up with some other dudes. So Breaker got his blood from a soldier named Dickerson. I assume that the director, Mr. Ernest Dickerson, named his character after this. He's like, yeah, sure, why not? So Dickerson died in France in 1917. That was the year the U.S. entered World War I. And so Deputy Bob starts to do the math in his head, but he gives up. He's like, that makes you, hell with it. I actually did the math. The U.S. recruitment age was 18 to 35, although some people snuck in when they were 16. If he was 18 when he recruited, and it was the same year that the pass happened in 1917, that would make him 96 years old, at least. He could be more than that if he was older. I mean, he actually looks the same age because they weren't going to try to de-age him. They didn't have that kind of money. So he just looks exactly the same. So he could be in his 20s or 30s, might have been an older soldier from other things, in which case he would be older than 96. I'm just saying he's at least 96. He could be 94 if he's supposed to be 14 years old in that scene, but he really doesn't look 14.
No.
And I think it arrests your age when you become the Guardian, so, he'd probably just remain a 14-year-old, which would be a horrible fate indeed. Please let me grow old, God. Yeah. Please let it end.
Let the other one drop.
Yeah. There was a case, I actually did look it up a little bit. There was a British boy who recruited when he was 12, but whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So Roach listens to the whole story and to how the fate of the entire Earth and the cosmos rests on the demons not getting the key. And then he immediately pickpockets the key off of Breaker. Simply astounding.
I kind of have to admire how much of a complete piece of shit this character is.
Yeah, Roach is not simply, for lack of a better term, a dick. He's like the world's worst dick. He's the worst dick ever.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He's a great character. He's played great, by the way. I love Thomas Hayden Church. I also love his performance in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's written just to be the absolute worst.
Yeah.
He honestly does elevate the movie.
He does a good job of making the character just, you hate him. He sucks.
He's a little fun, but yeah, you do hate him.
Oh, yeah.
Especially later on when he's making deals with Zane. Those are fun scenes. Danny has gone missing, so everyone stupidly splits up to go look for him. This is a terrible plan, and it's just a weak excuse to get everyone separated so that they can be tempted one by Billy Zane.
Yeah.
For the record, Billy Zane is actually supposed to be called the Collector in the script notes or whatever. That's what he's called. I just call him Billy Zane. I mean, why not? Might as well be.
Well, the people making the movie didn't seem to care. He's Billy Zane.
Geraldine and the rest each get their devilish offer from Billy Zane one by one. I already mentioned that. So Geraldine is offered freedom to travel, which sort of makes sense for her character because she's sort of trapped where she is in a small town in a bad job. But it just strikes me as a bit weak. It's just like, couldn't you find something a little deeper for her to really pull her in?
Yeah.
I do like this scene, though. I mean, she like bends over and then she gets up again and suddenly she's in a room full of sheets. Like, it's pretty cool. And it's like, it's well shot, too.
I mean, there's some good imagery. I just feel like they could have done more with her. I don't know.
Well, there wasn't so much time, really. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe take some time out of, hey, what if you had some really good booze and lots of titties?
That we haven't gotten there yet. We will be there soon, though. Yeah, that's the next offer. Or actually, no, that's actually 2 offers from now. I think Irene gets hers first, but I forget. Actually, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they each get it one by one. Oh yeah, I do like that part at the end. There's a portrait of Geraldine, on a big sheet, and it comes down, and there's just a picture of Breaker being eviscerated by demons. Zane's just like, horrible, isn't it? Like, even I think this is horrible. He makes his offer. She spits in his face, which is kind of foreshadowing, because she spits in his face twice in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he just says, something tells me you don't trust me, which I just think is funny. Like, he takes it in pretty good stride to be spat at right in the face. Geraldine rejoins the group, but she looks haunted by the offer when she gets there. Irene and the rest find Uncle Willie and the boy Danny up in the old church bell tower. Willie was hiding booze up there and is drinking it surreptitiously. Danny found some old comic books. EC Comics, what a coincidence!
Okay, I will say, I feel like of anyone in this situation, Willie kind of had the best plan.
To go to the place that hasn't been sealed so he can drink booze and get intoxicated?
No! Just drink it out. The demons it only lasts a night.
Well, yeah.
Just boost it up. They don't want him. I'm just saying, it's not a bad plan. Just seal it up, drink it up for the night, and then that shit would have happened.
Maybe, but I mean, he went up there when it was unprotected, so the demons could have just come in just randomly and killed them both.
Well, sure, but what I'm saying is, if everyone had just done that, and it went, hey, everyone go up to the attic, we're all going to drink it up for the night.
In a way, that would be good
been,
in the short term, but it would also mean that I bet that Breaker would have had another 10, 20, maybe 30 years of being the Guardian before he finally got to die. He was like, finally, Jesus.
Well, I mean, okay, spoilers, but I'm just saying.
I mean, I guess that is a spoil, but yeah.
It's not a bad plan. If your plan is to survive the night.
Maybe Breaker doesn't want them to survive the night. He's just like, listen, I just want to switch jobs. I'm tired of this.
Gotta be honest, that's kind of the opinion I'm of. Because the whole thing feels like it's designed to, like, whittle down to the last one who's good. Yeah.
So Irene shoos everyone out of the belfry. but stops to rest. I mean, she did just lose an arm, and they were making a big deal about medical attention, but now they're just like, it's cool. She drank some vodka. She'll be fine. Uncle Willie's trying to sneak away with a bottle of booze that he had been hiding, and she's like, leave the bottle. Pretty great.
Another great line from CCH.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Roach and Breaker are standing out on the balcony kind of by themselves. They're overlooking the demons. Roach hawks a loogie and spits it over the side. Gets like a blast of air in the face. And Breaker's just like, hey, they hate that. It's just a wonderful little line. I like that scene.
Yeah.
I thought the scene was useless. I realized that the scene exists to show that they aren't where Uncle Willie is. That's how dumb this justification is. I mean, I like this scene. So it's just Roach and Breaker hanging out, basically. It's actually a fun little moment. But it's only there so that Uncle Willie and Danny cannot find them. Because they go into another room, and Uncle Willie's just like, Breaker, are you in here? Like, why wouldn't you see him out on the balcony? But for whatever reason, he didn't. And so they go into a strange room. I don't know what this room is. It's like a hunter's parlor. It's full of like knives and bows and arrows, and like there's antlers on the desk. I don't know what this room was ever supposed to be.
I have ideas, but none of them are good ideas. Yeah. So, yeah.
So basically they walk in there and Uncle Willie just like sees something that Danny does not. And thank God, because it's not for his age group. He just throws his arms wide and he's like, oh, yeah, ladies. And I was just thinking how weird it must be.
Yeah, the whole scene is weird when you see it, when you think about it from his perspective.
Yeah. Well, okay, let me try to explain it from his point of view first, because, otherwise people won't follow what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hoo boy. Yeah. A chintzy cocktail bar. 9 topless women, all of them holding bottles of booze. There's like Christmas lights up, it's got like the fake plants. It looks like it's supposed to be kind of like the fake Caribbean tiki bar kind of a situation. There's like, hey, Uncle Willie. Then there's this shot when it cuts back to reality and you just see Uncle Willie, throwing his arms wide and talking to the wall. And Danny's just like, are you okay? I mean, I'm glad you don't see, Uncle Willie's hands go out and like grope the air or anything like that.
I was thinking
like, oh my God, no. This kid's already been traumatized. He's seen his parents get killed. He's been chased by demons. He doesn't need this in his life.
Well, why are you moving your hips like that? What's
just like thrusting the air. Oh my God. Everyone comes in and watches. And there's like, wait, just let him finish.
Maybe in a better
movie. Oh God.
But not this one.
So, okay, let me just lay it out like this. The toplessness is so over the top. It's so shameless that it kind of breaks the distaste barrier for me and becomes entertaining again. It's just so ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm sure people would be, like, offended by it. But at that point, it's just sort of like, what are you even going to do? I mean, it's so many tits. Like, of course it's funny. You literally only have, like, the reaction of, oh, that's funny, that's a shitload of tits. Or, like, getting mad about it. And who's the kind of person who gets mad about it?
I don't know. I was a little sad about it, because the whole time I was thinking of how cold and uncomfortable those women must have been. There's a scene when... There's also the scene where Dick Miller's going amongst them, and he's supposed to be super happy, but he looks uncomfortable, too, as an actor. He plays an old creep in the end in most movies, but... he's an actor with a long and storied past. So I don't know. I just hope it wasn't awkward on set for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that it was weird. It might have been weird.
You know what, Peter? I also agree that the scene where the old man gets surrounded by a bunch of tits wasn't uncomfortable for him. I hope none of us ever have to deal with that level of discomfort in our lives.
The misfortune. No, I just mean, like, he knows that, like, he's a dude with, he's a respected actor. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying, but like...
I wouldn't be surprised if at the end he was just sort of like, I'm sorry, ladies. I mean, this is just the kind of movie we're in, and we're just gotta grit our teeth and go through.
I don't feel like anyone who got involved in this is surprised by what happened.
No, they probably weren't surprised. All of the women are holding the same red label bottle of booze called the Long Hard One. Just so that one of the girls could say, I need a long, hard one.
Dick?
It's a joke. Like on the bottle.
No, see, like, I feel more bad about that than the nudity.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad too. I recently saw one of those bottles go up for sale on a movie prop website. And I'd love a little prop from this movie, but not from this scene.
Wait, how much was it?
I forget. I think it was a couple $100. Not bad for a bottle from a movie.
Wait, low 100 or high 100?
Low 100.
Probably.
You would want the long, hard one. I don't know what it is, whiskey or rum or whatever.
I mean, the idea is funny, but...
Try this, Uncle Willie.
No, I guess, no, I wouldn't.
I was just thinking, it would be such a... weird explanation. You know, it'd be like, how would you explain it to people if you had it up on a shelf? You're like, okay, well, there's a scene where Uncle Willie is like hallucinating that there are all these topless women, and this is in the scene with the topless women. If people would be like, what?
It's like, it would be something that would like kind of make me smile, but then nobody else would get it, which is like bad.
I would just feel bad because like it would remind me of the exploitation of the women.
They were getting paid, whatever. Like, I get it, but whatever.
Yeah, so Billy Zane offers Uncle Willie a glass of the long, hard one. Uncle Willie looks sort of resigned, but dutifully drinks. If you watch the women's faces in the shot when Uncle Willie is taking the drinks, there's this mix of cold, bored, and uncomfortable. And there's one lady who's bottom left who's just trying to make an impression by just smiling right into the camera, even though everyone else is supposed to be, you know, like they gave him stage direction.
I did notice that.
Yeah, it gave stage direction to encourage Uncle Willie to drink. But then there's just one, lady bottom left who's just staring right at the camera. So they kind of pan past her. It's like, all right, let's stop looking at her.
I kind of respect
No,
that.
if I was her, I would be doing that.
To be honest. Yeah, it's like, no, yeah, get as much of my face as you can on this scene.
Yeah, look how photogenic I am. I mean, don't think about what I'm doing here, but just come on.
No, yeah. No, that's her resume. I'm okay with that.
All right, now here's another bizarre thing I was thinking about with this scene. I was just thinking about all the scenes, the limited ones that exist, where the consumption of alcohol equals the selling of one's soul. How much booze does it take to enact the transaction, do you think?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't know if I'm theologically enabled to...
Well, I have my own hypothesis if you want.
Decide to... Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I mean, we're all amateurs.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. My hypothesis is 0. I think that it's not about the alcohol at all. It's about the internal processes of one's mind. So in the middle of drinking the alcohol, at some point, your mind gives up. So when you're given the booze from the evil bartender, like when Jack Torrance is drinking, it's more about him being like, okay, I give up. Yeah.
Peter, you're not wrong, but I also hate that answer, and I hate that's what you went with.
Well, here's the thing. If my answer is for real 0, it means that any amount is fine as long as you don't give up. It means you could drink a bunch of devilish whiskey and be cool. You just take a little sip and be like, yeah, that was pretty good. All right, I guess I'll be going now. You'd be like, hey, wait a minute, come back here.
I get it. All right. No, that's fine. That's fine. That sucks.
You could take the hardliner position and say, like, if it even touches his lips, his soul is sold.
No, that's...
But it does seem like it takes multiple drinks for him to lose his soul in this movie. When Dick Miller's drinking the booze.
Yeah. No, I'm not
just
mad.
Disappointed.
Not mad. No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Not mad.
So, Deputy Bob and Irene found Wally's secret postman stash up in the belfry. So, of course...
yes.
Of course, he was totally stealing the mail. Of course he was.
Yes. I love that the reason they're able to, like, restock their... I mean, there aren't any bullets. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But the reason they're able to, like, restock their weaponry is because of a psycho post office employee.
It's a cheap going postal joke, because that was a thing back in the 90s.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, this movie was made close enough to a couple of high-profile post office shootings.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this joke just really doesn't land anymore. This did not stand up to the test of time.
No. It doesn't land anymore, but, like, maybe at the time.
Oh yeah, it was funny at the time. I thought it was funny as a kid.
Yeah. Speaking of, I should buy some of those postal games. They're on sale. Anyway.
So there's no ammo for the guns. He hadn't quite worked it out, although he did already have his letter saying he was going to kill everyone in Cordelia's name, which is really depressing.
Also, I will say, I mean, yeah, that's great. I will also say at this point, I will accept any apologies from anyone who doubts me when I call this character the male cuck. Because he is!
I guess, yeah.
Look at that. Sorry.
Well, whatever he is, he's not a nice man, or at least not nice enough.
I mean, it sounds like his problem is that he's a nice guy. Holy shit!
No, that's like in that bad person thing, where they think they're nice, like not murdering people or being a rapist makes you like nice. That's like a dysfunctional perspective.
Yeah.
Peace is the absence of war.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the epitome of these guys.
Yeah, I mean it honestly it is. Yeah, with all those nasty red pill guys on the internet.
Yeah.
Don't come at me, by the way. Don't do it,
Peter. I'm not saying this to like aggravate you or whatever. That's what the character is. That's how the character is written.
He's more of a prototype, but yeah, that is totally.
Well, yeah,
that's what they're going for. It's a low blow that most movies wouldn't dare do, but it's Tales from the Crypt, so they're like, you know what, let's do it.
And I kind of love them for it. Because sure, yeah, that is a guy that exists and existed even back then. And it's okay to point out that's kind of a thing.
The guy's legacy at this point is just that he has a vest full of grenades that they're able to use later. So there's that. At least part of his plan was enacted.
Oh, God.
His evil plan to kill himself for basically no reason.
Yeah, Peter, please don't enable this.
All right. Breaker and Geraldine go find Danny and Uncle Willie. Uncle Willie is a demon now. I guess Danny must have seen the whole transformation process. I mean, another horrifying thing. Uncle Willie chokes Breaker, lifts him off his feet. Geraldine hesitates, thinking of Billy Zane's offer. There is no shot of Deputy Bob leaving the belfry to go help Breaker, but I assume that was there and then it was cut, because there's a scene where Irene is up alone in the loft, but just a moment before she was there with Deputy Bob looking at the mail guy stuff, right? And then suddenly he's gone.
Yeah.
But he's not helping Breaker get strangled, or I mean, help him from being strangled. So he's somewhere between those two destinations in the place, but I don't know where. I don't know. I feel like there must have been a shot of him leaving, but it hurts the continuity, so they just like get rid of it and be like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Maybe if they show him leaving too soon, and then like he never shows up in time, they're like, where were you? Are you so fat you can't walk over here in time? What's wrong with you? Don't make fun of my weight.
Yeah, let's also don't do that.
I'm sorry. He's a man of size, but I don't think it affects his performance or anything about him, for that matter.
No.
He's a cool character, to be honest. I'm sad I don't remember the real guy's name. Yeah, let me check. I think I have the thing up. Deputy Bob. Where are you? Gary Farmer. I've never heard of this man. Oh, he was in Ghost Dog. So there's that.
Hell yeah. Way of the Samurai?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Where was I? Oh, yeah. During the confusion, Roach tries to take the key down the stairs where he is met by Billy Zane and a couple of his horrifying demon minions. And they really are creepy demons. Oh, I forgot. Actually, wait, no, this is the part when Irene gets the offer. I almost jumped over it. I'm sorry. Let's backtrack slightly. So, yeah, so it's a brief scene. Irene is going to leave the belfry, or whatever you want to call it, the steeple at the top of the church. And some light comes up, and then suddenly there's Billy Zane with her arm on a platter. And he's just like, hey, you want your arm back? All you got to do is say yes. And she lifts up her stump, and he's like, is that a yes? And she's like, no, it's me giving you the finger. I'll get back to you. He knows he's not going to get anywhere with her.
Peter.
Yep.
Gary Farmer is also in a movie called Blood Quantum.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Which I've heard good things about it. It's about indigenous people who are immune to a zombie plague and kind of like form their own community.
Cool.
Yeah, I've heard good things, and he's in it.
Excellent.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. Maybe one day. We'll eventually get to all
Yeah.
horror movies that have ever existed.
Yeah. I was thinking about that, though. Blood Quantum.
Okay.
I've heard good things. Yeah.
So yeah, Irene turns down Zane's offer, and then Roach tries very cowardly to give up the key so that he can just leave in peace. Like,
Yeah.
I've already been given indication that this will end the world, but I just really want to get out of here, guys. Could you just help me out? I do love the way that the demons walk it out. It looks genuinely unsettling. They must have gotten really skinny people to be in those bodysuits.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. They look so good.
So back at the fight scene, Breaker pulls a machete off the wall and beheads Uncle Willie. There are knives all over the walls. Nobody grabs these knives for later. He doesn't even keep the machete he just used to cut off his head.
Well, he just cut off a guy's head. What does he need it for?
Yeah. Well,
Think
real
about it,
machetes
man.
actually aren't designed for bone because bone is very dense. It's more for
Yeah.
like thin branches. And so if you did try to cut someone with it, you'd probably just break it. But I mean, yeah, who needs that kind of realism? That's not fun.
No, yeah. I thought about that because I have a machete. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah.
I mean,
that's
well, yeah,
not
if you've
right.
ever had a machete and you try to do something impressive with it,
No,
it never works.
yeah. You use it for chopping branches.
Yeah, that are like less than a quarter of an inch thick, like probably less than that even. Like they have to be pretty thin.
Yeah. Machete looks cool. It's just not like you can't kill people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe if it was a falchion, like something that was actually designed to cut through people, like in a medieval setting.
Yeah.
So Uncle Willie's headless corpse reanimates and goes back to choking Breaker. He's just like, oh man. The animated severed head is cool, but it bears no real resemblance to Dick Miller, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
I often have sympathy
The effect
for
that-
these horror films that have difficulty in acquiring a decent looking severed head.
I mean, it looks good. It just doesn't look like him.
Yeah, if it had been someone else's head, it would have been perfect. Well, maybe not perfect. It would have been
Yeah.
better.
I wonder what's up with that because it feels like they didn't even make the attempt.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't know. They make Danny do another horrifying thing that'll ruin him forever. Danny, you have to get his eyes. So he has to pick up Uncle Willie's severed head. He liked Uncle Willie, or at least I think he did. No, he said Mister. Never mind, he didn't know him. But anyway, he has to pick up a man's head and go stab it on some antlers, which I think are only on the desk just to be at his height so that he can actually do it.
I like this effect. I feel like this is maybe a callback to the Dario Argento, like, eye getting gouged out by a splinter thing in the zombie movie.
There's a notable fixation in Italian giallo type horror films, especially Dario Argento, about just fixating on stuff getting pushed into an eye. And it's often like they play with it like, I don't know how to describe it, like foreplay. Like they do, it like lingers for a long time before going in.
Yeah.
It's really horrible.
I feel like the movie isn't terribly referential otherwise, but I feel
There's at least one part that is 100% from Aliens, but...
Well, no, that's true. But like what I'm saying is
stylistically?
Like, yeah.
I guess that's true.
I have no way of knowing if that's the case. I watched it and I felt like that was kind of what they were going for.
Could be.
I could be wrong about that. I'm willing to be wrong about that.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're the kind of freak who was like into seeing that scene, maybe this movie has stuff for you. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know what I'm going for. Anyway, let's move on.
Sure. We cut back to Roach, and he's still trying to cut a deal to save his own skin. And Zane just says, frankly, we've been counting on you, haven't we, boys? And I love that the demons look at each other and nod. It's so funny. Yeah.
Oh, the whole scene's great.
Well, yeah, this whole scene is great. I mean, everything with Billy Zane is great. Thomas Hayden Church is also great, and they're great together.
Yes.
I love it. It's like Billy Zane's just like, and you don't mind if we kill the others, right? And Thomas Hayden Church, Roach is just like, well, if it makes you feel good, then do it.
Well, if it makes you feel good, do it.
Yeah, Zane says it back. I like that.
He seems so, like, tickled by the idea.
Billy Zane says first things first, and he manifests a sponge that just rolls out of his mouth so that Roach can take it, wipe away the seal. That was good. I like that.
That's why, like, I feel like this movie was made for Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Because of stuff like that. I don't think there was a writer who came up with that idea. I feel like that was a Billy Zane idea.
Could be.
It's just wacky enough. Like, I'm willing to be wrong about it, but it feels like that's kind of a Billy Zane thing, where he was just like, oh yeah, and then the sponge comes on my tongue, and it's like, sure, why not?
It's much better than just pulling it out of his pocket or something, you know?
Yeah.
Roach wipes it away, and then he places the key in Billy Zane's little special carrying case. They shake hands. Roach heads for the door, walking past the demons, and, he's almost out. And then Billy Zane stops and was just like, oh, Roach, there's just one more thing I forgot to mention. I lied. Obviously.
Yeah.
He gets surrounded by demons and gets just horribly ripped apart, and there's like big sprays of blood. It's great. And the music gets all like dramatic, like, oh.
Probably not the goriest death in the movie.
Well, it doesn't show much. There's just a lot of blood spray, so horrible things are happening.
You don't see much, but that is probably the worst thing that happens to anyone in the whole movie.
It's pretty awful. And also, it shows that Billy Zane in particular, even if demons do follow rules, Billy Zane's not going to keep to his word.
No, don't trust him.
He's a troublemaker, this Billy. So Zane's walking around, like waltzing up the stairs, like he's so happy now.
Anytime Billy Zane's character is like happy in this movie, it's so good.
Yeah.
He's so whimsical. I love it. He's a good actor. This movie would be so much worse without Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Imagine, like try to imagine anyone else in this role.
Yeah, I'd be hard pressed for most people, like where I would see it being the same or better.
The baseline is find someone who could do it as well.
Who had the range and the facial expressions.
Yeah.
I could almost see Jim Carrey, but he would play it way differently. And he's not evil enough.
No, yeah, it's like, it's so suited to him.
Yeah. Breaker shoots Billy Zane right through the eye with a bow and arrow that I guess came from the hunting parlor. And I was just thinking of that line from Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls, and they go into the room full of stuffed animals. He's like, this is a lovely room of death.
I need to see those movies again. I know they're not going to be...
They probably won't stand up.
No, I have fond memories of those movies.
Listen, Jim Carrey has only been in one horror film, and that is not it. He was in Once Bitten, which we might eventually cover. We'll see.
Oof, yeah.
Have you seen that? I don't know if you have yet.
I want to see it.
It's not great.
Well, okay, I will say it's not on my list of movies to watch next time, but it's getting there.
Yeah, it's up there in badness with like Vampire's Kiss, the Nicolas Cage horror film. So, it's that kind of level.
Oh, no. Vampire's Kiss is maybe too good for like what I'm thinking.
Jesus Christ.
No, I got some shit stirred up.
Okay, so anyway, we're near the end. So let's cross the finish line.
Yeah.
Deputy Bob holds off the onrushing demons as Breaker grabs the key and takes everyone up to the belfry. Upstairs, Irene dramatically dons Wally's vest of grenades. This whole part of the film has Aliens vibes. This is the part I was talking about, because like this whole part is like when the aliens are coming at Private Vasquez and Lieutenant Gorman. They're up in the air vents at the end of that movie. And they both like hug a grenade and blow up right as the aliens are rushing in, like. So they do that same thing here, except it's Deputy Bob and Irene. This is a waste of Irene. She doesn't need to die. They could have just pulled the grenades and just like left. There is a delay. Also, they could have tried to go up to the ladder.
The scene in Aliens is fun because it's two characters that kind of hate each other and who were like...
And they kind of bond.
Drawn together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like bond, and then in their last moments kind of have that like...
Vasquez is crippled. Gorman already had a head injury. They were kind of just dragging each other along. So like they couldn't make it much further anyway. But
Yeah.
these two could have.
Like there's some emotional weight to the alien scene. As much as the guy sucks for a corporate ghoul, you feel a little. I feel like
He wasn't a corporate ghoul.
feel-
He was a military ghoul. He was an inexperienced guy.
if there is even a difference at that point between.
He's in the officer corps.
Well, no, what I'm saying is there a difference between like the military and the corporations at that point?
I don't know.
I don't think there is.
What are these questions, Jake? This is beyond
No,
the
I'm
scope.
just saying that he's like a complete shithead that you feel like despite all the bad stuff he does, you feel kind of bad for him.
Yeah. Well, okay,
You know?
so in defense of this movie, Deputy Bob does start as an
Sure,
idiot,
sure.
a perv
Yeah.
and an idiot. And then at this point, he does some brave stuff, and then he dies. Oh, there is an inconsistency here. I forgot. Because he said earlier there was
Right.
4 rounds left for his pistol. And then I distinctly hear 7 shots. There's 4 for sure. That blow away
Yeah.
it takes 2 shots to blow away the eyes of each demon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hear 3 more when he's off camera or whatever. I guess they just wanted to have him doing more. But then he runs out of ammo and throws the pistol down. And I hate that he wastes the opportunity to ineffectually throw the pistol because I always think that's funny.
Yeah.
Ugh, and then they miss usually. So then they do kind of like a half hug thing, and she pulls the weird rod that's holding, like, wired to all the pins. And he's like, supper time. And, and they do the 2 faces rushing in, which looks almost exactly the same as the aliens, when they were rushing in.
Yeah. That sucks, though.
I don't know. I don't mind making a
It's
reference to a better movie.
But it's a way better movie.
Also, it's not a super obvious reference. It's just more of an echo, I suppose you might say.
I guess.
It's not so bad.
Still, I don't know.
Oh, and Geraldine remembers to take that stupid black cat Cleo upstairs. I don't know why. I guess it's better than having her, try to remember later and have to go look for it and die. Because that's like the worst thing in horror movies ever.
Yeah.
The 2 of them blow up, and now it's down to Breaker, Geraldine, and Danny. Just the 3 of them up in the bell tower. Danny is already reading a comic book, as if the most amazing stuff that has ever happened didn't just happen right in front of him. He's like, this bores me. Or maybe he's like so traumatized he's trying to sort of get lost in it. I don't know. Because everyone's dying around him. His parents are dead. Demons are downstairs. Grenades just blew up seconds ago, and he's like sitting facing away from everybody reading a comic book.
Yeah, but I mean, have you seen Sonic the Hedgehog?
Well, what about it? I actually haven't seen the film.
No, I meant more of like the character for the video game. Wait, no, I guess this movie would have been too late for that. Shoot. I was making a joke about how like kids were like already into crazy special effects stuff. Anyway, no,
I
whatever,
see.
that
So
joke
he'd
sucked.
be super jaded.
No, no.
I
no,
gotcha.
that joke sucked. Let's move. No, let's move on.
All the best jokes have to be explained. I got it.
No, I can't go.
Hey.
Eat my shorts.
There you go. Thank you. Anyway. So a zombie animates on the page of the Tales from the Crypt comic he's reading. It's actually a cool effect.
It's a cool effect, but I hate that it's in this movie.
Why?
Because it's very dumb to have the zombie effect show up in the pages of Tales from the Crypt comic as if the Tales from the Crypt comic is infecting people with the demon plague.
Is that what you thought happened?
I mean, what else? They look at the comic and then they become a demon.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Okay, so I thought that it just showed an interaction, and then there would be some discussion, and then the kid would sell his soul willingly. That's what I thought.
But there's no interaction.
No, I know. Well, here's the thing. He opens his eyes, and then there's like a weird shot where like Geraldine and Breaker are talking to each other, and he's just sitting there. And I think because of child labor laws, they probably couldn't have him all the time. So it's probably just a dummy sitting in the chair reading a comic book. And I think during that time, here's what I thought. I thought Billy Zane made an offer to Danny by talking to him through the comic book And he said something to Danny that would make him want to say yes.
Oh, God. They'll probably save that bit for me.
Well, here's the thing. I thought that that's what it was because that's what it was for every other character, right? You know, he said something, they said yes or no.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
what would Zane's offer to Danny be?
That's
Tell him something only a child would understand. Give me your soul or
Yeah,
I'll hit you, Danny.
yeah. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Give me your soul and I'll make you cool. I promise.
Yeah.
Listen,
You'll be the most radical guy in middle school if you sell your soul to me.
Danny, I know I killed your parents, but it was an accident. It'll be great, I swear. I mean, you don't hear or see any exchange. Danny just sits in the chair, you know, until he loses his soul. So, like, I don't know. Maybe it is some kind of an infection standpoint. I figured it was some kind of a soul-selling thing.
I gotta stick to my guns here.
I mean, in a way, it's more respectful to Danny's character that after everything he's seen, he wouldn't just fold like a house of cards if he gets offered something.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess.
We don't know Danny. Maybe he sucks. He seems weirdly unfazed by the murder of his parents and other life-changing events that have happened so far.
That's true. He does seem very cool. So
It's difficult in movies because you don't want a kid who has to cry all the time in a movie because that's annoying to watch and deal with. But you also have to show that he's properly, you know, processing what's happening. I think, right?
No, that's fair. I guess I didn't think of it that way. I think that's fair. That's a reasonable interpretation of the character.
Thank you.
That I did not consider. So there you go.
I just want to note now, this movie was shot in an abandoned air hangar. There were birds that got wild birds got loose on set and they kept messing up scenes. So after a while, stagehands had to go and fire off shotguns filled with blanks to scare them away before shooting would start.
Jesus Christ.
And they were working in perpetual darkness. So like, that's the kind of set they were on.
Really?
Yeah. The sacrifices they made for us.
I would want to see that because I feel like that's considerably more wacky than the movie we got. That's so weird.
Breaker says he only has enough blood left in his goblet, or no, it's not. What do you call this thing? Well, they call it the key. Anyway, his little blood jug. He's only got enough blood for one more entrance.
I would say flask.
Sure. Yeah, it is kind of a hip flask, I suppose. Yeah, maybe that's why the demons had it like that. Maybe they just like booze.
That makes sense. Sure.
So Geraldine says to do one of the windows near her if there's only one more that can be done. And so Breaker goes over there and instead he dribbles it on her. You know, I guess just to check that she's okay. And, you know, she's fine with it, but she's like, why'd you waste it? And so she takes a dab from it, puts it on the window, it makes a seal. Well, there's more than that on your hand, so why not make a dab of it and do all the windows? And also maybe the entrance from down below that they're about to come out of.
Well, you know.
Yeah, well, you know. Spoiler alert, I mean, Breaker's about to die. And when he does, everything he did is apparently canceled. It literally shows every seal coming down, so it wouldn't have mattered either way. Breaker solemnly offers her the key. The tumblers in a lock thing he mentioned earlier led to this moment, so 7 people would be reduced to 1, and the key would find a new guardian. That's actually pretty awesome, but, you know, that's also like a bummer prophecy for everyone involved.
Yeah.
It's cool for the audience. So I guess that means at any point he could have been killed by a demon, you know, even if this part hadn't come up. It's just that this is when the transition happens. So the whole thing on his star hand is just to show when he's going to die and have to pass it on.
Yeah.
But, you know, as he's reaching out, Danny grabs Breaker's wrist and says, "Can I have it?" You know, like his eyes light up. It looks kind of corny. He grows some little boy talons and buries them in Breaker's abdomen and throws them across the room.
I like the Danny demon effect.
Yeah, the whole scene is pretty cool.
The way the jaw sends.
Yeah, I mean,
it's good.
The comic falls over, and as it's like flapping around in a wind that doesn't exist, but who cares? It shows all these different scenes from the, you know, what's happening in real time.
Yeah,
which is actually pretty cool. I like that. Then his jaw detaches, and then his tongue grows super long and just buries itself into Breaker's abdomen, you know, just searching around in his intestines, I guess. which is pretty horrible.
Yeah, that seems unpleasant. I don't know if I'd be a big fan.
Yeah, Breaker drops the key. Geraldine kicks it over to the window, the sealed one. And when the demon Danny bends to pick it up, she grabs a beam up on the roof and swings into a double kick that sends Danny sailing through the window, where he explodes. I just have to say, my heart sings to see this little boy's flaming body fall out of a window and explode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what kind of monster doesn't want to watch a little boy's flaming corpse fly out of a window?
They're going to the effects guys. They're like, all right, listen, we need a little boy's body, and it's going to be on fire and thrown through a window, and then it's going to just explode like seconds later. Why? Don't worry about why.
Whom amongst us?
Yeah. Breaker tells Geraldine she's ready. She says she's not, but time is of the essence. Billy Zane's still downstairs. They don't have time for the discussion. So she reluctantly receives the key and gets her first flash of biblical PTSD. So she gets to watch the crucifixion. The trapdoor opens, the green light comes out, and Billy Zane just like raises up from beneath, like on some kind of a rising platform. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Which I guess means he just kind of levitated up there out of triumph. Haha, the Guardian's dead!
Sure. Like I said, he seems to be having a hell of a time.
He's having a ball. So he goes up there, and, Geraldine closed his eyes after he died. And also she filled up her flask with his blood. And then as soon as Zane gets up there, he reopens the eyes. Because, he's a dick.
Yeah.
Zane sees Jada Pinkett, Geraldine, hiding behind some furniture. And she comes out. I don't know why, but she's not wearing clothes. Well, she's got her underwear on or whatever, but I guess it's just to make it harder to grab. If you're about to wrestle, you'll cover yourself in slick oil.
Yeah,
that's and so she's covered in blood, and Billy just says, "You must be feeling exquisite pain," which is a great line. As soon as he grabs her, he realizes it's not her blood. He burns himself very badly. And then they just kind of hunt for each other throughout the house for a while. I mean, I don't know. This is when I was feeling a little sick, so my notes get a little spotty in here at the end. I'll just put it that way.
Fair enough.
For the audience, I just got my COVID vaccine shot, and I had some mild symptoms for a day or two, so we all make do. So Billy Zane ambushes her in a bathroom. It's the bathroom that has the dead sheriff with the severed head just piled in a bathtub. So Billy Zane just throws her in there, which is a great reuse of that prop. I actually really like that. Another horrible thing to do with the prop.
Yeah.
He cleans her up and he pours out most of the blood, but she manages to smack it into his eye. I think for a second she thinks she's killed him, because that's what happens with lesser demons. But he's just mad because it hurt and also because it damaged his sunglasses, which he's been wearing like a real cool dude this whole time. And he's just like, no, that only works for the underlings. You'll pick this up. I mean, or you would if I wasn't about to kill you. And then he just picks her up. He's got the flask. The blood is out. The world is doomed. And, instead of just killing her, he starts a little dance sequence with her. I don't know. I mean, I think the idea is that he wants to have an even more impressive victory. Listen, I've already got everything I want, but why not just take a little more? He wants to convert her as a guardian just right into the fold, just to be more embarrassing to, I don't know what, God's glory or something?
I guess. I actually kind of got the impression that whatever victory for him would come after would be pretty lonely.
Oh yeah, that could be it. It seems like most of the underlings are mindless.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I kind of got the impression that he just literally just wanted anyone who could challenge or entertain him in whatever came after.
That makes a certain sense.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's, maybe I'm buying into demon propaganda, but that's the impression I got.
I think you're showing sympathy for the devil. Please allow me to introduce myself.
Play
wealth and taste.
Jesus.
I think I did forget to mention.
Finish it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Wrap it up. Geraldine, she actually, Oh, I was about to say she swallows, but no, she takes the last swig of blood and just holds it in her mouth, and she has to hold it the entire time she's being danced around, which is so great because Billy Zane doesn't know it, but the audience does. You know how you were talking earlier about how the cops had authority over him, as an evil guy having authority over Breaker because they didn't know the situation, but the audience, well, could have, I guess, if they were savvy. And they should have played with that. I mean, they do here, and it's good in this scene. Because you just know how horrible it would be to have that iron-tasting blood just full on in your mouth, and you're just trying not to swallow it or throw up. Oh, God. Just breathe through your nose. Try not to choke on it. That would suck if she got a little hiccup and she just belched all the blood on the floor. It's bah! God, that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, that would have been gross as hell. Congratulations for coming up with that idea.
And then Billy Zane is just what's that? And he slips on it and falls, and then his butt burns away. Oh no, what a shameful way to die. No.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she could pooped her pants too. That would be really good, Peter. you're on the case.
I'm just making everything better. I'm just workshopping it up.
Yeah. Release the Peter cut.
Yeah. So anyway,
the new hashtag.
Yeah, like you said, he's never taken a guardian in one piece. He wants her.
Yeah.
She says nothing, which angers him. He burns her with his flame penis, which is a great scene.
Yes, I love that. The whole special effects sequence.
Really starting to piss me off. Woo! Whoa! Woo!
Him firing off his demon crotch.
Yes.
It's good.
He apologizes.
It's good.
He apologizes for the outburst, and then he just changes tack immediately and tries to say he loves her, but he's physically incapable of saying the word love, which is
yes.
Great. I love you.
Love you?
Do you love me? He realizes it's weak, so he's just all right, fine, I give up on that.
Yeah.
He's all right, fine. Well, listen, if we can't do this a nice way, then I'm just going to take your heart. And in that little claw that I was talking about earlier reemerges. He can just summon it whenever he wants. And this is the moment when Geraldine just hawks a loogie again into his face, a big old glob of blood. It's a pretty elaborate death that Billy Zane has. He dies several different ways.
Oh, yeah. The whole effect where, his head kind of crumbles in on itself.
Yeah, it's it sort of melts and implodes, and then green gas pours out for a while, and then he catches on fire, and then his body turns into a demon with wings and horns and stuff, and then that explodes. It's a multi-stage death.
I love that because I feel a lot of movies. There aren't movies that stick to one thing that aren't better.
Yeah.
But this movie, just kind of covers all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything you could want in a crazy demon death.
Yeah, really. I would say a similarly great death is the main vampire in Fright Night, the original Fright Night.
Oh, yeah.
He does a similar thing where after he gets staked, he flames for a while, and then he turns into a demon, and then the demon falls apart, and then there's a huge tunnel of flame.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Another good one. Yeah,
and some of the deaths in The Lost Boys, but not all of them.
Wow, yeah.
So there's an explosion after all of that. Geraldine is miraculously unharmed, but at least the editors thought of this, because you actually see her laying on the floor, and there's a red seal around her, well, she didn't have any more blood on her, so I guess it was just God giving her a freebie. All right, fine, you killed him, so I won't have you die.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's immune to demon fire? I don't know.
I mean...
Well, she is holding the thing, so maybe that gives you some kind of protection from stuff like that. I could see that.
Sure. Possibly.
So Geraldine goes and refills the key with poor dead Breaker's blood, and then she packs her things up. This is sometime later, and it's not like she could ever explain any of this to the authorities, so you might as well just leave immediately. She gets on a bus. She's stopping to put a seal on the bus entrance. And at the next bus stop, a rather dapper-looking gentleman in a nice broad-rimmed hat goes to step on the bus, but stops, and he's just like, nah, I'll get the next one, which is pretty great.
Oh, yeah.
He walks away whistling the Tales from the Crypt theme song, and, it's a pretty awesome ending to a pretty awesome movie, honestly.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Granted, there's slightly more. There's a little after part with the Cryptkeeper, but yeah, the movie proper is over, and, Cryptkeeper offers a rose to some women, but doesn't actually give it to either of the two that are standing around him, which makes me sad for both of them. Like, give it to one of them.
Look,
but
I think this movie has made pretty clear about how the Cryptkeeper feels about hoes.
I guess. So, yeah, he's going out to his debut for this movie, which I actually like, because they show, like, the producers are so angry with him that they want to behead him with a guillotine on the red carpet, which might have been similar to how the producers really felt after this came out, because it was not
I was
going
to say, probably not too far off.
I wanted Final Cut, and I got it! It's a great line.
Yeah.
And, then you go to the credits, and this movie is in the beautiful pile, the short list of movies that make a false promise for a future film. I just.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you watched it all the way to the end of the credits, because it's right near the end.
Yeah.
Where Cryptkeeper says something along the lines of, stay tuned for Dead Easy, which will totally exist.
I mean, they kind of made another one after.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing. There was a rumor that somebody, I forget who it was, somebody big, maybe it was Robert Zemeckis, was on the verge of leaving his company for another one. And he really wanted to do a raunchy vampire movie. And so they gave it to him in the form of a Tales from the Crypt movie. So I blame him for all this, if that's true. So Bordello of Blood, which actually does have some good parts, but is mostly kind of a bad movie. Or at least not my cup of tea.
It's mostly bad, but look, Peter, I can appreciate the idea behind the movie. I'm just saying.
Well,
I don't like a raunchy vampire movie. Well, no, I'm just saying there aren't many good ones. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
If there was a good one, that'd be
What We Do in the Shadows. I guess it's not raunchy.
Yeah.
It can be done. So in this one, the Cryptkeeper says, stay tuned for Dead Easy. This is one of the two movies that was pre-written to be a Tales from the Crypt movie. They never actually made it.
Yeah, of course.
And just as a short list of some of the ones I remember where people made false promises in movies, because I love this unfortunate thing that happens. It was in Masters of the Universe when Skeletor comes out of the water.
Oh.
At the very end, it says, I'll be back. He's never back.
No.
And then there is at the end of Buckaroo Banzai across the eighth
dimension.
Yes! Yeah, where Buckaroo Banzai will return in Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Council League, or I can't remember what exactly it's called.
The World Crime Syndicate.
That's the one. Okay, so yeah. That actually sounds, that would have been a great movie.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie.
And then the last one I can think of is Mac and Me, where at the very end of that movie, Mac speaks, even though he didn't speak in the movie at all. He just says, I'll be back, or will be back, I think, maybe. Either way, Morgan Freeman might say, they did not come back.
I guess enjoy that sense of failure.
It doesn't always, I like the boldness of just trying to be like, hey, this will be a thing, guys. It worked in Back to the Future when they had like the sequel start in the first movie. They had no idea that was actually going to happen. They're just like, well, we're going to do this anyway.
I feel like people are pretty keen to that now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that much more.
So this film...
Maybe that's just me.
This film, it got 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is not a very good review.
No.
It's 48% on Metacritic, which is unusual. That means critics actually liked it slightly better than the audience at large.
I could maybe see that.
It's a little odd.
Yeah.
So what would you rate it on our 1 to 10 scale, Jacob?
I guess 6.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I like it, but I don't think there's anything that would tip it over to like good above average. average. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. I think I would agree with you. I would go with a 6 out of 10, but that's more out of process of elimination because 7 out of 10 is too high.
Sure.
And 5 out of 10 is too low.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very enjoyable movie. Maybe a good solid, slightly more than half of the characters are well acted and well portrayed. It's just that the other half aren't.
Yeah.
And the movie's sleazy, but sometimes you want sleazy. So, I mean, it's almost subjective in that sense. Some people like a lot of boobs in a scene for no reason. Some people hate that. So, it's not for everybody. You might not even like Tales from the Crypt, in which case you might not like that the Crypt Keeper tells terrible puns before the movie starts or makes fun of John Larroquette.
Yeah. 6 out of 10 is good. I feel like it could easily, if they had done another pass of the draft for the script, could have easily been 7 or 8.
Yeah, maybe just a little more polish. It actually might have been more of like a legitimate classic or like a cult following type, situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the edge of being great, but it's just, it's good.
It's up near Tremors, but not quite as good as Tremors, which itself is not too
good.
I feel like it's in that category where it's really fun. It's a fun romp. It doesn't take a lot out of you to watch, but kind of light, but enjoyable and approachable in a way that Tremors also is.
I would agree with that.
So now is the time, Jacob, that I will do the IMDb keywords for this movie. There was like 300.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I always look forward to this.
It's a weird mix on this one, I will say.
I am actually curious.
Let's see what we got on this. I just want to see what the total is. Yeah, there's 323 keywords on IMDb for this movie. I'm only going to read the top 20 because,
All right.
We have to set boundaries. So
Tradition.
Okay, so here's number 1. Loud sex.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. And that's actually, it's almost like a plot point. So, yeah, it's pertinent. Number 2, bus.
Wait, what?
There's a bus at the end when Jada Pinkett-Smith is leaving.
Oh, God, yeah. I guess that counts.
You have to try to remember everything that happens in every part of the movie.
No, yeah. That doesn't, I feel like it doesn't count, but whatever. All right.
Number 3, Gore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 4, this is similar, demon. I mean, yeah.
Sure.
In a way,
I mean, it's in the name.
Yeah, these IMDb keywords, it's almost like an ingredients list on like a product you're going to eat. Just like, oh, here's all the stuff.
Yeah.
Number 5, church.
Yeah.
It doesn't really help them that it's a church. It just happens to be one. Number 6, pun. Anytime the Crypt Keeper is involved in anything, you have to mention the horrible puns he does.
Of course.
7, reading a comic book. I mean, yeah, I guess so. Number 8, shotgun. Yeah, there's a couple of those. Number 9, prostitute. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I feel like her whole character should have just been rewritten and maybe just give her a new job and all kinds of stuff. They should have done something there.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not great.
Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, so this is number 10. Interrupted sex. That does happen.
Sure.
11, woman in a bathtub. That was at the beginning when the lady was washing herself after murdering her husband.
Yeah, that counts.
I guess. 12, filmmaking. And I mean, I guess filmmaking happens in the film.
Sure.
Let's see, 13, African American woman. Yep.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so 14, I think, is a hand grenade. There's a bunch of those. 15, black bra and panties.
I'll have to guess.
Yeah, it's that woman at the beginning. I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes. No, I just...
And that pointless cold open, where the Crypt Keeper is making fun of John Larroquette for waving a hatchet in a way that displeases him.
Yes. Fair enough.
16 is cowboy hat. Absolutely.
Yes.
17, breasts. 18, police. Yep.
Sure. Yeah.
19, female frontal nudity. That's actually not true. It's only breasts. Well, I guess that's included, maybe as a broader term.
Spirit of the keyword. Yeah, I'd say.
And number 20, extreme violence.
Why isn't that number one?
Yeah, really.
Fun.
Okay, so
Get your act together.
yeah, I don't know. Loud sex was number 1, so I feel like that should be high on the list.
Sure.
Well, anyway, folks, I think that about wraps it up for tonight. I hope you have enjoyed yourselves. Let us know if you have any suggestions, and maybe rate us on iTunes. I hear that's a good thing for us somehow. Or don't, it's cool.
No, rate us and rate us highly.
So
No, I'm tired of this. No, rate us highly or it's threat.
Okay.
Do it.
All right.
I'll find you if you rate it low.
Sure.
I'm here. I'm listening.
So until next time, folks, I've been Peter.
I'm still Jacob.
And this is Gorman on Gore.
Later.
The world needs more people like you, Mr. Roach.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Of course, you don't mind if we kill the others, do you?
Hey, if it makes you feel good, do it.
It makes you feel good. Do it. Exactly.